Is your home, business, or church looking tired, chalky, or in need of curb appeal? Go Rhino. Tired of painting year after year? Go Rhino. Our unique 3M ceramic technology is perfect for brick, stucco, aluminum, steel, color lock masonite, and more. It's backed by our 25-year transferable warranty to not chip, crack, or peel. Great if you're staying, and even better if you're selling. Our ceramic coating allows you to maintain all of your architectural features. The decision to do vinyl will leave your home looking like a plastic moldy box. With Rhino Shield, in 15 years, your home will still have that, wow, it looks like you just got it painted. We've done large condo complexes, parking garages, pole barns, and commercial strip malls. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. Evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
No paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
When you enter a place of business, you're owed a legal duty that the place of business is safe for you to shop in. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you suffered an injury at a place of business, our duty is to protect you after that harm. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.com.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Triton Exteriors. I think you have picked up by now that I am big fans of this company. I'm big fans of Tim, the owner. I just trust him. I think he does a great job at customer service. Also, I really want to push the James Hardy smart siding. So we just came through some really bad storms, as you know. Because of the way the smart siding is made, the way it's manufactured, the way it's installed, if you had James Hardy smart siding, you would not have had any damage to your siding. Just something to put in your equation as you make these decisions. If you did have some damage, or you're afraid you did, whether it's wind damage on your roof or hail, your regular siding, your gutters, your fences, you can't do better than reaching out to my friends. It's Triton Exteriors. Call 314-717-1159 or go online at triton-stl.com. You can absolutely trust these guys. They'll do a great job for you. 314-717-1159 for Triton Exteriors.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon from my friends at ZeroRes, and I want you to beat the spring cleaning rush with big savings and priority booking by calling our heroes at ZeroRes. If you missed out on earlier specials, this is the time to get your home freshly cleaned, the carpets, the floors, maybe even the upholstery. ZeroRes removes winter's lingering grime, preparing your home for hopefully brighter days ahead. And spring, let's face it, is a time for renewal. So let ZeroRes help you refresh your home with clean carpets, fresh floors, and improved air quality. For that, you want to do the ductwork. And here's the offer for the month of March. 3-room ZeroResified from St. Louis's #1 carpet cleaner, starting at $119. Also, take $75 off your air duct cleaning package. You owe it to yourself and your family to breathe healthy, happy air. So book right now at 314-474-2020 or go to ZeroResSTL.com and say you want the 97.1 FM Talk special. You spell it backward or forward, it spells the same. ZeroRes. Book today at ZeroResSTL.com.
You want to retire soon, but everyone keeps telling you to wait until you're 65. After all, that's the age that you qualify for Medicare and you're close to full retirement age. I'm Marvin Mitchell, president of Compass Retirement Solutions. In my new book, Retire Early, The 9 Critical Decisions When Retiring Before 65, I discuss proper planning to help make early retirement possible. When to take Social Security, what to do with your 401k, health care, how to maximize retirement income, and much more. Get a complimentary copy of Retire Early by calling 1-800-743-8510. That's 1-800-743-8510. Can you retire early? Call 1-800-743-8510 for your copy of Retire Early, the 9 critical decisions when retiring before 65.
Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois. Compass Retirement Solutions is not affiliated with the U.S. government or any governmental agency.
You've been listening to the very popular Wellness One for many years, Saturdays and Sundays on 97.1 FM Talk. We're happy to share that we've expanded the show to 4 times a week. Yes, 4 times every weekend. Saturday at 10 a.m., Saturday at 8 p.m., Sunday at 9 a.m., and Sunday at 2 p.m. It's the same great show designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you a common sense, science-based strategy for a healthy life. So join TJ and Aaron for Wellness One. Now 4 times a week on 97.1 FM Talk.
If you've tried and failed every ED treatment, there's another fix that could work for you. It's same-day surgery, it's minimally invasive, and is performed by South County Urological physicians. Hundreds of men have come to us for this outpatient procedure that has a satisfaction rate over 90%. Interested? Call South County Urological, 314-843-8000. We have the fix when pills and devices no longer work. 314-843-8000 or southcountyurological.com.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com or call us toll-free at 888-367-6512.
If better health, more energy, and detoxing your body are some of your priorities this year, get Active Liver today and start the year off knowing you're giving your liver some well-deserved relief. You can find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
This was a fluke. This was something that if we had a competent president, it would not have happened. The man was grossly incompetent. All you have to do is take a look at he signs by autopen. Who was signing all this stuff by autopen? Who would think you signed important documents by autopen? You know, these are major documents you're signing. You're proud to sign them. You have your signature on something. In 300 years, they say, oh, look, can you imagine? Everything was signed by autopen, almost everything. Nobody's ever heard of such a thing. So, should have never happened.
Trump speaking from the Oval Office, I think this might have been yesterday, and the autopen question is kind of an interesting one. I don't know that we've ever had, like, autopen can't have existed for that long.
From what I've read, there was some version of autopen for a couple other presidents, but nobody ever questioned whether that
for when?
president.
For how long ago?
All the way back to possibly even Reagan, that he was using.
So that's not many presidents.
No, in recent history.
Trump has said that he uses autopen to sign correspondence, things that are like communications to people. But when you're going to pardon your own family member, you're like, just use the auto. Sign it with the autopen. Donald Trump loves the sound of a Sharpie on paper. I love the sound of Donald Trump's Sharpie on paper. I'm here and I'm all about it. The autopen situation is kind of a head scratcher. I don't know that there's the autopen. There's nothing obviously out there in the stories surrounding all of these documents that had the autopen signature on it from Joe Biden. There's nothing out there that immediately and very quickly says, well, if you sign it with autopen, it's not a legal signature. There's nothing out there that says that. You can put autopen on a document by the president, and my full understanding on the issue is that that doesn't negate any legality behind the powers vested in the president. The authority through that signature isn't negated because it's an autopen feature. Now, the Attorney General, Andrew Bailey of the state of Missouri, is going to be on with us in 15 minutes to discuss this because he's raised his hand and said, I have a problem with this, and he does what the Andrew Baileys of the world do. He files lawsuits, and he's going to work to get to the bottom of it. So we're going to talk to Andrew Bailey about the details behind it. We don't have to pretend to be lawyers here because we get the very best of the best experts on this show to discuss it. But I think there's a deeper question here, and I'm wondering if this is where the conversation with the Attorney General is going to go in 15 minutes. The autopen might not negate the legality of it, but what if they could prove that he was not within his wits? What if they could prove, and I don't know how you would do this, that he didn't even know that his signature was put on the things that had his autopen signature? We here on this show, on the Annie Fry Show, spent the Biden presidency, discussing his absolute mental decline that I think we all believed and said during the primary in 2019 and in 2020 that it was a joke that he would be the guy who you would rally behind. He was not with it. He's on the debate stage telling people to turn their record players on. This guy, and it wasn't jokingly so.
No, that was that's what he thought people were doing.
You want your smartest, you want your brightest, you want your best. And the Democrats said, let's get the oldest white guy we can find.
That was at the time. I think it was 2020 that people were even saying, no. Remember this. It was just a stutter. He doesn't have problems.
Yeah.
He doesn't have problems speaking. It's a stutter.
Even when you go back and listen to Joe Biden of the vice presidential variety, he doesn't speak like that. We just played a video maybe last week, possibly the week before. It was last week. And it was the Doge video. It was Barack Obama in 2011, so pretty much at the end of his first term, saying, we're going to cut government waste. It's hard. People don't like it when you say we're going to pull back spending and some of these benefits you're used to, that's going to get pulled back. But there is a lot of fraud, waste, and abuse, and we're going after that. And he said every penny that they were going to go after, and he said, I've got just the guy to do it. Nobody messes with Joe. He put Joe Biden in charge, who was the vice president at the time, in charge of Doge. They just called it something different. But when he puts Joe Biden in charge of it, we played that video for you. Joe Biden, he's not stuttering. He's not stumbling. He's not slurring. He sounds like your run-of-the-mill Washington, D.C. forged politician who knows exactly how to look you in the eye and tell you what you want to hear so you'll vote for him again. He was good at his job. That's how he stayed there so long, I think, unless we find out more. Also, JFK called him a traitor.
Wait.
JFK Jr.
Huh?
It was JFK Jr.
JFK Jr.?
Yeah. And it was right before JFK Jr. died in a plane crash.
Called him a traitor. I missed this.
Said Joe Biden is a traitor. Yeah, it was in that big documents dump from the JFK files.
Well, thank you for catching me up.
But the JFK files, very interested in it, was scrolling through X last night endlessly trying to find what people found. Unfulfilling.
It's exactly what I expected.
It was less than 5 hours since they had been released. So there's time. But I think it was Brett Favre was like, I don't have this many hours in my life. Who killed JFK?
Yeah, right.
And I was like, yeah, Brett Favre, I'm with you. I support you. Exactly. We haven't found out yet. If somebody does, please, at Annie Fry Show, tag me on X. Give me the deets.
Yeah, if you did it, tag us on YouTube. Let us know if it was you.
How old would you have to be? I mean, you'd have to be like at least 10 when it happened.
It was it's a 10-year-old.
So
the 60s.
You'd have to be born in 1950, 51.
Yeah, 1953. It was 1963 when he was shot.
You'd have to be at least 75-ish.
As a 10-year-old.
Yeah, if you were looped
assassin.
in real early.
Yeah. It's like my parents' age when they're like, yeah, I was in 3rd grade.
Listen, hey, come here, little buddy. Can you keep a secret?
He's like, reach for the sky.
Man, yikes.
That took a dark turn.
Big yikes. No. So the question we have on our YouTube today is, do you believe President Biden's signature was used without his knowledge and approval? Because that's what this really all comes down to, doesn't it? If it's autopen and it was like negligence on the administration's part, and you guys, you're the president. Take the time to sign the document. You're pardoning your blood. You're pardoning your son here from literally everything that occurred since 2014. And we know that there have been a crime or two. You said, nope, I wash your sins away from you with autopen? Cop out. Did he know he did it? I think it's a valid question. Did he know anything that he did?
It's a very good question. It's a good question to have as the YouTube live chat poll today.
Thank you.
Because everybody who is being even a little bit honest with themselves knows that when you start to ask questions about Joe Biden's mental acuity, you're going down a pretty deep well, because there have been problems for longer than he was even president, and people knew it. And people in the Hunter Biden documents, which they said were fake, he was even saying it. His own son was saying it in 2018. So we know that there was a lot going on that Joe Biden had no idea about. And for him to be using autopen, that's the guy that you don't want to use autopen, because people already had questions whether he knew what was going on.
What was the day that he stepped out of the election? Do you remember the date? I was on vacation.
Oh,
I know where I was. I was sitting in the Saratoga Springs pool. I could tell you, I could go back there right now and say within 12 inches exactly where I was sitting when that happened.
It was late July, but I don't know the date.
That's correct, because that's when I was on vacation. Here is June 18th, Corinne Jean-Pierre, 2024.
Ironically, several recent cheap fakes actually attacked the president for thanking troops. For thanking troops. That is what they're attacking the president for.
This is when the parachuters came in and he wandered off.
Oh, at the G8.
And I think it was the Italian prime minister was like, hey, Joe, come here.
Yeah,
Joe,
they're corralling him.
Joe,
The
come over
world
here.
leaders of Europe.
Both in Normandy, this happened, and again in Italy. And I think that it tells you everything that we need to know about how desperate Republicans are here. And instead of talking about the president's performance in office, and what I mean by that is his legislative wins, what he's been able to do for the American people across the country, we're seeing these deep fakes, these manipulated videos. And it is, again, done in bad faith.
There was nothing manipulated about it.
No, there was nothing. They found some random video that some guy with 12 followers had made that was fake and said, well, we're going to focus on this and call everything a deep fake.
The Normandy one was they said that they cut it off too soon because it looks like he wanders off the screen, but really he's wandering over to where these parachuters are. But he's doing the old man shuffle.
And
he's doing the old man shuffle right over there. And all of the world leaders are posing on the left of the screen. They're all together, and he is just slowly, like squirrel, gone. And then they had to go. You can see they do the thing where they all look at each other like, we're going to have to do something here, and our actions are going to have great consequences across the world. How do we handle this? And then I believe it was the Italian prime minister who went and was like, hey, Joe, and brought him back to the crew. Which, like, here's the other thing. If Donald Trump, if that same situation, parachuters, Normandy, world leaders together, kind of a spectacle taking place, but all the world leaders are doing world leader things. If Donald Trump were in there, and Donald Trump wanted to take the opportunity to go shake the hand of one of those parachuters, you would know the entire time that he was in full comprehensive control of his faculties. And if someone came over to get him and he was going to try to shake this parachuter's hand, he would stiff arm them and be like, go back to where the other little kids play with those world leaders. I'm going to shake this guy's hand. Biden just goes where he's led. And he was the president of the United States. And we were told this whole time that we on the right side, or the media or the right side influencers, were desperate and manipulative. And we know that there was desperation and there was manipulation. And we know now that they were in the throes of it at this point in the presidency.
That's in the middle of the campaign when Corinne Jean-Pierre says that. So what she's saying is Republicans are so desperate for something to run on. Like, we had no other issue to talk about other than, look, the president might have a few nuts and bolts loose. That White House it is amazing seeing in the last 2 months the transparency of this White House. As Caroline Leavitt steps to the stage right now doing another briefing. I mean, they talk to the press so much. Yeah. And watching the lies happen so consistently from the last administration, it's amazing.
Let's just pop up the TV right here now, Brad, and listen in real quick before we get to Andrew Bailey.
Days. But because of the Biden administration's lack of urgency, they ended up spending 9 months in space. Joe Biden's lack of courage to act boldly and decisively was a big reason why Butch and Sonny did not make it back until yesterday. But President Trump doesn't waste time. Immediately after taking office, President Trump directed Elon Musk and SpaceX to rescue these brave astronauts alongside NASA. The president also called the acting administrator of NASA and told her to bring the astronauts home as soon as possible. As acting administrator Janet Petro said herself yesterday, per President Trump's direction, NASA and SpaceX worked diligently to pull the schedule a month earlier. The president looks forward to welcoming Butch and Sonny to the Oval Office when they are recovered. This historic mission brings new meaning to President Trump's promise to always look out for the forgotten man and woman. On another important matter, yesterday, President Trump and President Putin spoke about the need for peace and a ceasefire in the Ukraine war. Both leaders agreed this conflict needs to end with a lasting peace and also stressed the need for improved bilateral relations between the United States and Russia. President Trump also spoke with President Zelensky this morning to align both Russia and Ukraine in terms of their needs and requests. As President Trump has said repeatedly, the precious lives and money that both Ukraine and Russia have been spending in this war would be better spent on the needs of their people. This terrible conflict would have never started with President Trump in charge, but he's determined to end it once and for all. President Trump also promised maximum transparency and a commitment to rebuild the trust of the American people in our intelligence community. Part of that promise was to fully release previously classified records related to the assassination of former President John F. Kennedy, and he made that happen yesterday. This historic release consisted of approximately 80,000 pages of previously classified records that are now published. The records are available to access either online at archives.gov/JFK or in person, accessible to the American people at the National Archives in College Park, Maryland. Records that are currently only available for in-person viewing are being digitized and will be uploaded in the coming days. On another note, positive economic data continues to pour in, showing the immediate impact of President Trump's pro-growth agenda. After suffering a steep decline in the final year of the Biden administration, the manufacturing sector came roaring back in February. Industrial production surged in February. These are new numbers. 3 times at a greater 3 times rate than the expectations to its highest ever recorded level. And President Trump's laser focus on massive deregulation and unleashing our domestic energy industry is leading to stabilities for Americans' bottom lines. As Newsweek summed it up today, gas prices are plummeting under President Trump. And the Trump administration continues to make American communities safer through our ongoing mass deportation campaign of illegal alien criminals. Yesterday, FBI Director Kash Patel announced the agency captured another fugitive from its 10 most wanted list, securing the extradition of Francisco Javier Roman Bardeles, a key senior leader of the brutal MS-13 gang. And the brave men and women of ICE also arrested a number of dangerous aliens across the country in recent days. You will see them on this screen. ICE San Francisco just arrested a citizen of Guatemala convicted of sexual battery. ICE New Orleans arrested a citizen of Ecuador convicted of rape in Suffolk County, New York. ICE Atlanta arrested a citizen of Mexico convicted of assault by strangulation. ICE Dallas arrested a citizen of Mexico convicted of assault with a firearm and rape with a foreign object. And ICE Houston arrested a citizen of Guatemala convicted of indecent sexual contact with a child in Texas. These are heinous criminal alien monsters who the previous administration allowed to flood into our country. And every time President Trump and this team deport one of them, our country becomes safer.
So we have Carolyn Levitt speaking from the White House right now at the press conference. We're going to continue to monitor any news that might come out of this. We're going to take a break because Attorney General Andrew Bailey is going to be with us next. I'm going to talk to him about the legality of those autopen signatures that Joe Biden participated in quite frequently. It might be a nothing burger. It might be like, well, of course they do that. They got to sign a million things. Why not add the autopen signature to, pardons of your son and Fauci and other things that you have that are massive, massive orders? You'd think you'd want to put pen to paper. Not Joe Biden. Let's talk to Andrew Bailey about it next.
This is the Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
STS Armory in Pontoon Beach, Illinois. I want you to understand how confident you can be walking into STS Armory in the knowledge base that they are going to be able to provide for you, in the help that they're going to be able to give you. If you walk in and you know your stuff, you are going to have mad respect for Katie and Jesse at STS Armory for their mutual understanding of, let's say, the situation in the state of Illinois when it comes to owning and operating firearms. Now, on the other end of the spectrum are folks that were like me. Certainly, I have family members who knew that they wanted to be able to protect themselves, knew that they wanted to have a goal of a conceal and carry, but they'd never shot a firearm before. That is a process. There are things that you need to know. There are things you need to practice. There are, of course, classes in the state of Illinois that you need to take in order to conceal and carry in the state. Everything, all of it. When you go to STS Armory, they guide you through the whole thing. They have a brand new location in Pontoon Beach, Illinois, and they're online at sts-armory.com.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Triton Exteriors. I think you have picked up by now that I am big fans of this company. I'm big fans of Tim, the owner. I just trust him. I think he does a great job at customer service. Also, I really want to push the James Hardy smart siding. So we just came through some really bad storms, as you know. Because of the way the smart siding is made, the way it's manufactured, the way it's installed, if you had James Hardy smart siding, you would not have had any damage to your siding. Just something to put in your equation as you make these decisions. If you did have some damage, or you're afraid you did, whether it's wind damage on your roof or hail, your regular siding, your gutters, your fences, you can't do better than reaching out to my friends. It's Triton Exteriors. Call 314-717-1159 or go online at triton-stl.com. You can absolutely trust these guys. They'll do a great job for you. 314-717-1159 for Triton Exteriors.
You want to retire soon, but everyone keeps telling you to wait until you're 65. After all, that's the age that you qualify for Medicare and you're close to full retirement age. I'm Marvin Mitchell, president of Compass Retirement Solutions. In my new book, Retire Early, the 9 critical decisions when retiring before 65, I discuss proper planning to help make early retirement possible. When to take Social Security, what to do with your 401k, health care, how to maximize retirement income, and much more. Get a complimentary copy of Retire Early by calling 1-800-743-8510. That's 1-800-743-8510. Can you retire early? Call 1-800-743-8510 for your copy of Retire Early, the 9 critical decisions when retiring before 65.
Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois. Compass Retirement Solutions is not affiliated with the U.S. government or any governmental agency.
There's nothing like it. The crack of the bat, the roar of the crowd, and the timeless voice of Cardinals baseball.
A swing, and there's a high fly ball. That's hit the deep left field. It might go. It's a goner.
Now, you can experience every pitch, every play, every win in crystal clear FM sound.
Big fly, Alec Burlison.
Starting March 24th, tune in to 104.1 FM KMOX, the voice of the Cardinals, now stronger than ever.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is celebrating 55 years of residential and commercial service, maintenance, and installation of heating and cooling systems. Get in your comfort zone. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
Brian Kilmeade here, and I'll be there on Saturday, March 22nd. Jot that down, at the factory in Chesterfield in this engaging motivational journey through America's past. Tickets available at 971talk.com/events.
Sponsored by Bob and Tammy Kershaw of the Retirement Advisory Group. This is the Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Clearly, I don't see myself upon that list. But she said, where'd you wanna go? How much you wanna risk? I'm not looking for somebody with some superhuman gifts, some superhero, some fairy tale bliss. Just something I can turn to, somebody I can kiss. I want something just like this.
Have you ever used autopen, sir?
Yeah, only for very unimportant papers. And I don't call them unimportant. If you do letters where people write in and, you know, they'd love to have a response, or we'll write responses, and I'll sign them whenever I can, but when I can't, I, would use an autopen. But to use them for what they've used them for is Terrible.
So President Trump there talking about the implementation of autopen. Yes, it's something that presidents do. You got to imagine there's a lot of correspondence that comes along with being the president. And speaking to the American people is certainly one of those things. You'd love to have a signed letter from the president. That might get an autopen signature on it. But when you pardon your own son, is that the time to go ahead and put the autopen signature on the document? Let's talk to Andrew Bailey about it. Of course, Andrew Bailey is looking into this. He's pursuing this, and he is the Attorney General of the state of Missouri. It's so great to have you on the show with us once again, Attorney General. We're grateful for your time, and we want to know what you have pursued and found out about the autopen signatures used in the Biden administration.
Well, thanks for having me on. And look, this is a fraud of constitutional proportion. At the end of the day, the use of the autopen is just one element of the problem, but the bigger issue is who was authorizing the use of the autopen, and did President Biden have any understanding about the documents that his name was being affixed to and the legal implications of those documents? And here's the broader picture. Since February of 2024, Biden's own Department of Justice had posited that he lacked the mental acuity to form an intentional mental state. Remember when his special counsel declined to charge him with stealing classified documents because they said he was an enfeebled old man and no one would believe he could form that intentional state? Well, if that's true, then he doesn't have the mental acuity to be affixing his name to legal documents of constitutional proportion. Look, these types of challenges are raised all the time in probate courts across the state of Missouri and across the United States of America when somebody signs a will or other testamentary instrument that disperses their assets after their death. And then somebody wants to challenge whether they were of sound mind when they did that. The difference here is we're not talking about the disbursements of assets in probate court. We're talking about constitutional authority. And under Article 2 of the United States Constitution, all executive authority is vested in a singular president of the United States. So if unelected staff were making decisions on the president's behalf, then those decisions lack any legal validity, so that no pardon was actually issued. Hunter Biden may have a document that purports to have authenticity, but if Biden didn't actually know what he was doing and authorized his name to be affixed to it, it's no pardon at all. It lacks all legal validity.
Man, that's heavy, and that's how long would this have been the case in the Biden administration? There are a lot of questions that are going to need to be answered. Attorney General Andrew Bailey with us right now. So let me just parse this real quick here. The autopen is a legal signature in and of itself. Is that correct?
In most instances, unless the legal authority says that the legal authority authorizing the document says that it has to be the president's signature. If it's just it has to be approved by the president, then certainly an autopen would be legally valid in that instance. So the use of the autopen in and of itself is just one element of the problem.
So, and then secondarily, it sounds like the question is, did he authorize the use of this signature? Did he know what was being
signed? Could he even authorize it? Yeah, exactly.
How do you find that out?
Could he? Well, I think that we're taking steps to do that. Number one, we sent a demand letter to the Inspector General at the Department of Justice asking the IG to review the matter to determine who was drafting the documents, who was putting them in front of the president. At what point did he, if by February of 2024 he lacked the mental acuity to form an intentional mental state, did the individuals who were then teeing up signature and auto-pinning of these documents understand that? And at what point did the president lose the mental acuity to form an intentional mental state? And again, we've got a growing quantum of evidence that points to Biden's lack of self-awareness, lack of the cognitive ability. Not only did his own DOJ make such a finding and declining to charge him with a felony offense, but Speaker Johnson talked about going in and questioning the president as to why he would sign an executive order that harmed American energy, and the president didn't know what he was talking about, that he'd never done it. Well, that's not true. Your signature's on it. You've got now Democrats coming out as recently as last month saying that the president's staff was limiting access to the president because they were trying to shield him from anyone understanding how bad his cognitive decline had gotten. And so, again, this is a growing quantum of evidence that calls into question whether the documents that were issued ever had legal validity.
We are speaking with the Attorney General for the state of Missouri. Andrew Bailey is talking with us right now about the autopen signatures that have been discovered on a whole host of different things that came out of the Biden administration. Of course, you have the Constitution at your fingertips. You have the legal expertise to pursue this. What does that look like materialistically for us as we're viewing your actions here to get to the bottom of what the truth is?
Well, I think that the Department of Justice Inspector General will conduct a full and thorough review, and then should if allowed, should author a report at some point in the future declaring whether or not they view the documents as legally valid. You know, what I'm hearing the president say in recent remarks is that he does not seem to think that those documents are legally valid. If that's true, that means that those documents can be challenged. So in other words, the criminal prosecutions and ultimate punishments can go forward, and it's up to the individuals then to defend the pardon that they think they received. The problem is, how are they going to have the evidence to do that? And I think it's really telling that Biden has been silent on this issue. If somebody was questioning your state of mind, wouldn't you go to the public and say, hey, what are they talking about? I'm fine. I knew what I was signing. He hasn't done that. Why is he so silent on this? I think that emphasizes the problem here.
Yeah, you know, and Attorney General, I recall when it looked like they were trying to push him out of being the candidate to run for re-election. I remember he called that big press conference, and it went horrible. It was terrible. He came out to try to prove that he was up for the job, and he proved that he wasn't. So I think that kind of lends to the big question marks surrounding this issue. What was his mental state, and how long was it that way? Let me ask you this question. Would other people, if he weren't aware of these signatures being put on these documents, then that would mean that people did it without his approval.
Those are forgeries.
That seems like there'd be great legal peril involved in being a part of that.
Absolutely. They have criminal and civil liability. That's what I'm saying. These are forged documents. That's why this is a fraud perpetrated upon the American people of constitutional proportion. I mean, it's unprecedented in American history that this would have happened this way. And with the volume, look at the number of pardons that he issued and the number of official actions he purported to have taken. And again, my point is, if he didn't know what he was signing, if he didn't know his name was being affixed to his documents, no pardon was actually issued. So, again, I think this is a fraud of constitutional proportion.
Well, we want to continue to follow as you are pushing on this. We want to know the details that you're discovering. We'll continue to have you back for that. If I may shift it real quick before we let you go, I want your comments as an attorney general, as somebody who understands the legal system very well. These district judges that we're seeing, these federal judges who are single-handedly trying to stop Donald Trump in his tracks, deporting criminals from our country, among other things. What are your thoughts on some of these activist judges and what the natural outcome should be here with the great power they've put into just their single judgeship?
Well, I mean, it's a judicial usurpation of authority. And there are three branches of government that are co-equal. The judiciary is not the end-all, be-all of the federal government. They share power with the other two branches, and certain authority, like national security and foreign policy, are given to the executive branch. The issues with the flights to South America of the Trinidad criminals, those are not reviewable by a federal court because they're foreign policy and national security issues. The judge has no more authority to question or stop what President Trump is doing than the judge has to pick out bombing targets during a time of war or to direct the movement of troops on a battlefield.
Does the President of the United States have the authority to disregard these rulings that come from these judges?
Well, the judge's ruling purporting to interfere with the president's constitutional authority is not legally valid in the same way that pardons that are issued in a president's name that the president doesn't even know about lack legal validity. So when you've got that kind of usurpation of authority, I don't know that it has any legal validity at all. And I disagree with the Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts, who is saying, well, look, we can't impeach judges just because we disagree with them. Well, this goes beyond just a simple disagreement. This is a blatant usurpation of power. It's one thing if you think this evidence is hearsay. I think it's not hearsay. Reasonable minds can disagree. It's different when you have a judge meddling in national security and foreign affairs in direct violation of the plain text of the Constitution.
Andrew Bailey speaking with us right now, Attorney General Andrew Bailey of the state of Missouri. The final question I have for you is in regards to this administration's preparedness. When they came in, they knew what they wanted to do, and it seems as though those 4 years that Donald Trump has been sitting on the bench, that they have been working for the opportunity to implement this should he win re-election once again. And I heard the press gaggle ask Tom Homan the other day, you went and found a 200-year-old law and are trying to apply it here in the Enemy Aliens Act to try to make it so that they could do these deportations. What do you think about the Trump administration's willingness to use the full width of the law? 200 years old, Constitution's a little bit older than that, Tom Homan reminded us. What do you think of their willingness and their creativity to get the job done using these laws that may have not been used in recent past?
I think it is bold. I think it is decisive. I think it's just what the doctor ordered, and it's what the American people have demanded. The American people made their voices heard in November, and the president and his team are executing on that mandate, and I'm excited to see it. I'm filled with optimism at the rebirth of our nation under the president's leadership.
Yeah, I think that's a very, very good take on it, and we appreciate you sharing it with us here on the Annie Fry Show. Attorney General Andrew Bailey, thank you for the time today. Keep working at it. We'll get you back on here for an update.
Thanks, man. Look forward to talking soon.
Take care. Bye-bye. Oh, man. When we were talking with Will Chamberlain, I've thought about the Will Chamberlain. Were you in here for that, or did you listen?
Yeah, I was listening.
Listening to the way he was framing everything, a lot of what Will Chamberlain said with the Article 3 project yesterday, and of course he's a legal expert there, I'm think it's modern history, what we're dealing with right now, and I'm thinking about Donald Trump's willingness to say, well, what are the laws? I'll use that one. And when you hear the press, who's adversarial at best to Donald Trump, say, you're picking a 200-year-old law to enforce this or whatever. Well, it was specifically to Tom Homan, but it was, of course, about Trump's implementation of those deportations. Like, Tom Homan, laughed at him. And I'm like, that is the right response. Can you tell me, Mr. Pressman, what time frame of laws are you willing to abide by? And to his point, he's like, the Constitution is older than that, and we still try to stick with that one.
Yeah, and something Will Chamberlain said yesterday that really caught my attention is it's not just, is a law old? It's also, how has that law been used and implemented? Because if it was just created in 1798 and had never been used since, that's one thing. It doesn't mean it's invalid.
Right.
It just means that that's one thing that if law has come afterwards, he said this specifically, if law has come afterwards or court rulings that have shaped the way we use something like that, then that's worth conversation. But this has been used periodically throughout American history.
When you say it's worth conversation, that's something that would have to be litigated.
Yeah.
The law is still the law. It doesn't. If it's a law, if it has been passed and it hasn't been challenged, then you have the ability to challenge it in the process of challenging a law, of repealing a law, of amending a law. All of those processes exist. To just say that's an oldie,
yeah,
and Homan's like, but a goodie, and then it's like more, and the other, that was the clip that I played with Will Chamberlain yesterday. You have Lawrence Jones on Fox going, "You're running out of money. The Democrats are trying to push back on every turn. What's next?" And he goes, "Another flight." And it's like I said, zero fudge brownies given.
Yeah.
Tom Homan is the right man for the job, but we are seeing out in front boldness, absolute, fluorescent boldness in this administration's willingness to get the job done. Never, ever, ever would have happened if he wouldn't have had to sit the bench for 4 years. He never would have gotten the support that he does have. He never would have been able to assemble the Avengers dream team of what we keep hearing from people when we're talking about the people in this cabinet, in this administration. They know how to go in front of a camera. They know how to talk to people. They know how to deliver a clear, concise message. Such an important factor. Of course, you have maybe people who are a little more brash behind the scenes or whatever. But when you have Tom Homan delivering the message, is there a better guy in the face of the planet for that job? There isn't.
And it cuts through.
And people go, well, yeah, I'm with him. It's a lot of winning. Do you believe President Biden's signature was used without his knowledge and approval? Yes or no? Go vote in the Annie Fry YouTube live chat poll. Ryan is going to talk to us in Wiggins America about the 6 types of friends you shouldn't parent without. We'll be right back.
I want something just like this.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
It's the middle of March. It's past the middle of March. That's crazy. If you were shopping for food right now and you want to make sure that you're saving on all of the fresh produce, a lot of times at this time of year, fresh produce starts coming in even more and even better. Ruler Foods always has great produce, but you can save on red or green seedless grapes right now, $1.69 a pound. And grapes are a huge hit in our house, and they go like crazy. And when they get super expensive, it's like, it sucks to be like, sorry, kids, we can't buy healthy foods because it's too expensive. You go to Ruler Foods, and you can fill the pantry and the fridge and the fruit bowl with those healthy foods that they love to eat and that you can be happy that you can afford to feed them. When you shop at Ruler Foods, it costs less. It's really that basic. You do not sacrifice on quality whatsoever. They carry the name brands you love. They also carry Kroger brands at Ruler Foods prices, and you're going to love those as well. We certainly do in our house. You can save on Tyson boneless chicken breast, $2.99 a pound. They also have Kroger Big K 12 packs, 3 for $10. Save when you shop at Ruler Foods. That's what we do. Every time we shop there, we walk out thinking, wow, that is a great haul for a great price. You can join us in doing that. Find your Ruler Foods at rulerfoods.com.
We, without hesitation, recommend that anybody work with Throttle IT. The experience will be as good as it's been for us, for anybody, because you'll get a true partnership and you'll be able to rest easy that you're going to get the service that you need, while they're also doing all those things that you don't want to have to think about, that you don't want to have to worry about. They're always doing that in the background for you.
Don't wait for your next IT crisis. If your business depends on technology, you need a partner that's got your back. Contact ThrottleNet.com to get a free IT evaluation and see how we can support your IT everything.
If you've tried and failed every ED treatment, there's another fix that could work for you. It's same-day surgery, it's minimally invasive, and is performed by South County Urological physicians. Hundreds of men have come to us for this outpatient procedure that has a satisfaction rate over 90%. Interested? Call South County Urological, 314-843-8000. We have the fix when pills and devices no longer work. 314-843-8000 or southcountyurological.com.
Setting goals for your retirement is one thing, but knowing how to achieve those goals is another.
What are your wishes, hopes, and dreams? What's retirement look like for you? Because everybody, that picture is different.
For tips on building a better nest egg, listen to the All Financial Hour with Steve All, Saturday mornings at 6, here on 97.1 FM Talk.
You can also visit yourmoneymattersstl.com for more details.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call the Lance Story Law Firm today and let us get between you and the IRS. We'll protect your rights, including your right to appeal or even your right to take the IRS to tax court. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney team who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Story Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis, or visit Lance, DRURY, law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm, 314-260-6120.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Tony LaRussa here. Men, are you running out of stamina rounding third base? If so, call my friends at Victory Men's Health in O'Fallon, Illinois. Scoring at home is important, just as important as crossing the plate with the winning run. VictoryMen'sHealth.com.
Just a reminder, we're giving away Collective Soul and live tickets all this week, one pair every day, which means that there's another pair coming up today. We typically have done the 2 o'clock hour. I think we're going to do the 1 o'clock hour today, which means look for that. Come back about an hour from now for your chance to win those tickets to see Collective Soul and live on July 17th. Today's YouTube live chat poll question is, do you believe President Biden's signature was used without his knowledge and approval? Yes or no? That is the topic of the day. Let us know what you think. 1248. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
The Reardon Fish Fries continue. Join me and the crew at Assumption Parish in South County. We're broadcasting live from 3 to 6 p.m. Details at 971talk.com/events. It's Fish Fry Fridays on The Mark Reardon Show.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
This song is so good. Do you like the song? Like, legitimately hate, love?
No, yeah, I don't like this song at all.
Really?
I just never liked Creed. Now it's so far removed from it.
Why does it have to be about Creed when it could just be about? Aren't there bands you don't like that have a song that you're like, okay, I like it?
Oh yeah, but Creed is not one of them.
What about the song Higher?
I don't like this song.
You have bad taste.
Creed was just a joke when they were out to me. But now it's come full circle where I almost enjoy it.
Can I say
ironically
something that's going to make you scratch your head? It won't now because I said that, but I think that you fell to the trendy nature of hating on Creed.
Creed was very popular.
No. It was popular to hate Creed, and I think that you succumbed to the crowd, Ryan Wiggins.
I think the crowd might have been right once in a while, and to me, it's more important.
Just when you were with them.
It's more important to have standards and really not worry about the crowd. Isn't that right?
Well, you know me. I'm not worried about the crowd at all.
Mm-hmm.
Why I don't mind saying that I like Higher and I like Creed, and I like them because I like them, not because anybody else does or doesn't. But you don't like any of it.
Again, I don't hate it at this point.
You just literally said that you're changing your mind on your opinion on Creed because of what the crowd is doing.
Did I? I don't know.
Do you like Higher?
Yeah, I like that song.
Oh, he's got good taste.
No. Creed, back when it came out, that was not respectable rock. It just wasn't.
It doesn't have to be.
You just proved Danny's point there.
It needs
that
to be
it was
respectable.
popular to hate on Creed.
I don't know. I think the Creed hate came a little later. I just do.
It's a good song. I don't know what you don't like about it.
It's the same to me as 80s rock when it was out, like hair metal, I thought was the stupidest thing in the world throughout the 90s. And then about 2000, I started to think of it as being kind of fun and funny. I'm to that point with Creed. I just lost a lot of people. I get that. I'm going against the crowd here, Annie, is what I'm doing.
I don't think you are. Doesn't make me any difference if you like it or not. It's just you often try to look at what the crowd is doing and run aggressively in the other way.
I don't always do it just because of the crowd, but sometimes I do.
Like in the instance of Creed. Wiggins America?
Wiggins!
Wiggins! It's a great song. Makes me want to
if you like crap,
accomplish great things.
I say that and I don't even care anymore. Like I used to be so passionate.
Passionately
now I'm
hate
like,
them.
Who cares? It's Creed. It's Higher. Whatever. I think that's just age.
With arms wide open.
I used to do that a lot. Anytime it was windy
yeah,
and I was wearing a flannel shirt.
Unbutton it.
Yeah, unbutton it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
With arms wide open. Who am I, you guys?
It's the Walmart parking lot.
Yeah, no matter where. Anywhere. Who am I, you guys? Like, people would get tired of that joke. I would do it so often.
Hey.
What's that like?
With arms wide open. You'd be standing in front of a fan when you'd be outside. All right, these are the 6 types of friends that you need in your life as a parent. Let me ask you this question before we jump in.
Do you have any friends?
Do you think it
few.
takes a village to raise a child?
Yes, but not like the Democrats who
Okay.
you guys got to just define what it means.
That's up to you. That's why I was asking the question.
I know people who don't live around family, and it is a struggle, and they need to create a local family.
Mm-hmm.
Does it take a village to support a parent?
It's the same thing.
Yeah, it kind of is, isn't it? Well, these are focused on the friends you need to have as a parent. So the first
I gotta
one
make a list so I can go shopping.
was go find these friends. But tell me if you have these friends. Number 1 is the friend with kids the same age as your kids.
Yeah.
You always end up having these friends, right?
I have lots of those.
Yeah. And these are a lot of times friends that you didn't have before you had kids.
You're living parallel lives.
Yes.
You understand things that if you explain to people who didn't have kids at that age any longer or haven't gotten kids to that age or don't have kids would go, okay, that sounds awful. And you're like, it is.
Gotta tell you, there was a little bit even extra bonding, and probably still is, but especially when they were younger, when it was twins.
Oh, I can only imagine.
When it was twins. It was like,
how many times in your life have you seen, I've raised one, I can't imagine what it was like to have 2.
Over and over and over. And it was okay. I wasn't like, oh, what a cliche. It was like, I agree with you.
Mhm.
You are at least in
You're like,
the
yeah,
ballpark
absolutely.
of
I'm
reality.
twice as good as you.
Yeah, that's what I would say. And I'd flex, and I'd open my shirt, stand in front of a fan.
With arms wide open.
You got to have 2 of these, carry 2 babies.
Just sets the fan down.
All right, the next one is the friend with older kids because of life experience.
I will say that as somebody who has a freshman in high school who has played sports programs where I've been around senior families a little bit more, there is a healthy amount of like, hold on tight. It goes so fast. And then it starts to make me a little anxious.
Yeah,
like,
because you can't hold
I'm
on
like,
tighter.
I'm holding
The
as
more
tight
you
as
do
I
it, the more
can.
anxious it makes you.
What I have learned, because most of it is just like, it goes so fast.
Yeah, it
That's
just does.
mostly what it is. Like one day, all these problems or all these, problems, it's just like basically
Stuff.
time management and the fact that your life isn't your own. And I'm not complaining about it. I love being a parent. I love having 4 kids. I'd have 4 more kids if I didn't have to physically bear them. We'll talk about that one day sometime. But the push to try to hold on so tight makes the whole thing anxiety ridden that I have very much tried to let go. And I think I'm pretty proud of myself for this. I've done a pretty good job of being present and trying to experience the now and focus on things not so much like future, because of that, all that comes with that is anxiety. And I'm a planner, so it's hard.
How about friends who remember you before you were a parent?
I have those, but those are people who are also parallel parents.
Well, then they can go into multiple categories.
Yeah. I don't really have people who well, no, I mean, I guess I have some, but it's just
You just don't
there's
see
no
them as
time.
often.
There's no time.
You don't see them as often. Brad and I was talking about that
Mm-hmm.
issue, is that once your kids are your life, it's not that you're trying to not talk to people who aren't living that parallel life.
My
It's
husband
that you
and
just don't
I
have time.
don't even see each other.
Yeah.
Like we literally have to leave on a plane somewhere by ourselves in order to get consecutive time with one another that isn't dominated by children, which is fine. I'm not complaining again, but that's just the truth.
This one is similar, but the friend
many
who
more do you have?
recognizes just a couple.
Okay.
Friend who recognizes you as who you are besides just a parent.
That's you guys.
Oh, cool. Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
you guys, we know each other's family situations, but our relationship is based on a skill that has nothing to do with parenting other than when we make it a segment.
Last one is thank you for being very existential there. Last one is the friend with younger kids.
Oh, yeah, I like to look at them.
I do too.
I'm like, you just slowly nod. Like, you'll get through this.
And that's what the older kids and parents are doing to you.
I just say to those people, hold on tight.
Yeah.
And they're like, I'm going to lose my mind. It's going to be fine. It'll be fine. But it is interesting to be on. I'm kind of in the middle right now. And I'm holding on as tight as I can. I'll tell a story about that in the 2 o'clock hour. I had a conversation with my son yesterday. Let's talk to Deroy when we come back.
Well, if you're like me and you enjoy wine, especially quality wine, you have to try the delicious wines from Stonehill Winery. This winery, if you've never been there, it's in Herman, Missouri, so it's local, been around since 1847. Listen to this. Stonehill's Cross J. Norton wine beat out 235 other wines in a Missouri wine competition this year and ended up winning the Governor's Cup. Stonehill is Missouri's oldest and now most awarded winery. The winery itself, this is really cool. It has the largest series of underground vaulted cellars in North America. So what's cool is if you get a chance to go to Herman, you can stop into Stonehill Winery and take a tour. Really cool. They do all kinds of events there, weddings. Think about how cool that would be. I got to try some of Stonehill's Ozark Hellbender the other night. It's a dry red wine, and it's fantastic. Actually, listen to the description of this wine, okay? Aromas of sweet cherry, blueberry pie smeared with a plum compote and drizzled with cinnamon sticks and toasted oak goodness. You can find Stonehill wines at virtually any retail store here in Missouri, brought to you by our friends at Lore Wine and Spirits.
Well, don't forget to visit Andrea's restaurant, but I do want you to, even if you can't make it to the restaurant soon, for your next occasion, just keep it in mind. But pick up their Andrea's steak sauce when you are in the grocery store. They are famous for their steak sauce. It was created in 1978, and it has gone worldwide. A lot of people who've used it outside of this area have no idea that, oh, that's from St. Louis. Okay, because it's just a well-known steak sauce internationally, really, at this point. Like I've always said before, the White House gets a case of it every year and have since the Reagan administration. The chefs who know that to use Andrea's. I encourage you, though, because you are in St. Louis, this may not be everywhere. You can check out their other sauces as well. Andrea's has a barbecue sauce and a salad dressing that will not disappoint you. There are a lot of options out there for sauces. I get it. I'm a sauce guy, but these really are top tier, and not just because I get to talk about it on the radio. They're that good. Andreas.com.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app. Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Wind advisory until 7 o'clock tonight. Some of these wind gusts pushing 50 miles per hour. There could be a couple of showers from time to time. Also a rumble of thunder, 74 for the high. Tonight, a couple of showers mixing with some wet snow after midnight. It's colder, 35, stays windy. Nothing more than a dusting of snow. Cool on Thursday, sunny, and 51. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
There's nothing like it. The crack of the bat, the roar of the crowd, and the timeless voice of Cardinals baseball.
A swing, and there's a high fly ball. That's into deep left field. It might go. It's a gunner.
Now, you can experience every pitch, every play, every win in crystal clear FM sound.
Big fly, Alec Burleson.
Starting March 24th, tune in to 104.1 FM KMOX, the voice of the Cardinals, now stronger than ever.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon from my friends at ZeroRes, and I want you to beat the spring cleaning rush with big savings and priority booking by calling our heroes at ZeroRes. If you missed out on earlier specials, this is the time to get your home freshly cleaned, the carpets, the floors, maybe even the upholstery. ZeroRes removes winter's lingering grime, preparing your home for hopefully brighter days ahead. And spring, let's face it, is a time for renewal. So let ZeroRes help you refresh your home with clean carpets, fresh floors, and improved air quality. For that, you want to do the ductwork. And here's the offer for the month of March. 3-room ZeroResified from St. Louis's #1 carpet cleaner, starting at $119. Also, take $75 off your air duct cleaning package. You owe it to yourself and your family to breathe healthy, happy air. So book right now at 314-474-2020 or go to ZeroResSTL.com and say you want the 97.1 FM Talk special. You spell it backward or forward, it spells the same. ZeroRes. Book today at ZeroResSTL.com.
Does the state of this economy have your head spinning? Let GregHammons.com relieve one burden, health insurance. Greg Hammons at GregHammons.com specializes in under 65 health insurance plans that have zero copays and no deductibles. You choose your doctors and hospitals. These plans have nothing to do with your income and are 30 to 60% less than Obamacare. These are also available all year round to those that qualify. If you have a small business or you're paying for your own health insurance, you're uninsured, you're on COBRA, or your employment coverage is just too expensive, call Greg at 314-794-7784. That's 314-794-7784. Or go to GregHammons.com. That's GregHammons.com. They can customize a plan chosen and managed by you, not the government.
If you've tried and failed every ED treatment, there's another fix that could work for you. It's same-day surgery, it's minimally invasive, and is performed by South County Urological physicians. Hundreds of men have come to us for this outpatient procedure that has a satisfaction rate over 90%. Interested? Call South County Urological, 314-843-8000. We have the fix when pills and devices no longer work. 314-843-8000 or southcountyurological.com.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon for New Perspective Senior Living, where your loved one will enjoy chef-prepared meals, engaging activities, state-of-the-art technology, and a welcoming community that feels like home. Visit npseniorliving.com to schedule a tour today. New Perspective, where every day is a chance to live life on purpose.
Mark Cox here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how to link to the market without the risk. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go online to retirementkey.com.
When's the last time you gave your home's exterior a little love? Hi, it's Kim, and if your siding is cracking, it's fading, or just doesn't stand up to our St. Louis weather, it's time to call Lakeside Renovation and Design because they're experts in James Hardie siding, which is this durable, low-maintenance option, and it looks beautiful. Plus, you have customizable colors and textures, and so you can give your home a completely new look while protecting it for decades. Don't wait until the small problems turn into big ones. Visit lakesidearty.com to schedule your free consultation.
CiviaLaw.com if you're looking to build a trust, if you need to get your powers of attorney updated, or hey, let's be honest, established. You need to make sure that you've taken care of things the way you want them to be taken care of. Have you heard of probate? Maybe you've lost a parent or parents and you've seen that they had everything in order and it was just a much more peaceful transition to get into the grieving process and to understand that they took the time and they made the investment to care for you that way. You got to treat yourself the same. You got to treat your dependents the same. You need to make sure that you have your thoughts on paper and done so with an attorney that understands all the nooks and crannies of estate planning. That's Todd Civia at Civia Law in Missouri. In Illinois, you get your wills, your powers of attorney taken care of. You get your trust established, living wills, all of it. With Todd Civia at Civia Law. My family did that. Myself, my husband, we went through that, and we're very grateful that we have that put in place. You can give them a call for yours as well. 833-995-WILL. 833-995-WILL. Find them online at CiviaLaw.com.
The Annie Fry Show YouTube live chat poll of the day is happening now. Tune in to the Annie Fry Show live stream. Vote and be a part of the conversation by typing in Annie Fry on YouTube. Subscribe and leave a comment.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Well, the YouTube live chat poll for today. Do you believe President Biden's signature was used without his knowledge and approval? Yes or no? We just spoke in the last hour with the Attorney General for the state of Missouri, Andrew Bailey, who was pursuing this and wanting to know if the signature, the autopen signature, was used without his authorization, if he knew what was going on. And if he didn't know what was going on, how long didn't he know what was going on? At least we have Andrew Bailey on the job. You can check the podcast to learn more about that. We continue to watch the Biden administration fade into the background and the Donald Trump administration come in. He's appointed the most amazing people to head up all of these different areas. And every time you tune in to the television, you see he's working on world peace. He's working on securing the border and making our country safer. He's working on making America healthy. You've got so many things that he has to do that he made promises on. And 2 months in, he's put the people in place to get the job done to make sure he can deliver on these promises. Let's talk to our friend Deroy Murdock, a nationally syndicated columnist, of course, Fox News contributor, a Project 21 ambassador as well, and our friend here on the Annie Fry Show. Deroy, welcome back. Good to have you here.
Annie, great to be with you again.
What do you think of the assembly of people who Donald Trump has selected, got every single cabinet member approved, and is really, really gotten to the street to make sure that these promises can be made? How are they doing so far?
I think they're doing very well. And President Trump was very careful to pick people who are not just intelligent and dedicated and supportive of his agenda, what the left likes to call loyalists. I mean, God forbid you should appoint people who are loyal to your program. We wouldn't want that now, would we? But these people, I can't think of any exceptions, and some of them are really, really quite outstanding in this area, are excellent spokesmen. These are people who have been television personalities, television anchors, people like Pete Hegseth, Secretary of Defense, Sean Duffy, Secretary of Transportation. These are people who've had their programs on Fox News Channel and Fox Business Network and have been on every single night, for either an hour, or Pete Hegseth on the weekends, 3 hours on, if not maybe even 4 hours on Saturdays and Sundays. And so when it comes to communicating the president's agenda and priorities and policies, these people are just fantastic to get on television and discuss whatever it is that the White House is trying to do, what the administration is trying to do. Hegseth has been great. Duffy's been great. Marco Rubio has been spectacular on camera. So I think he's very careful about picking people who are not only able to implement policy but can discuss it and defend it in the court of public opinion. And I think that's been a big plus. That's one of the reasons I think he's achieving virtually every objective he's attempting to do.
Deroy, when you think about those individuals that you just highlighted right there, and you compare it to the first term that President Trump had in office, he was, what was it? The impeachment starts tomorrow. It was like right after the election or something like that. And the entire agenda-driven media was willing to link arms, collude against President Trump to lie and deceive the American people. And they were good at it and they were successful at it. It's like he's completely managed to sidestep all of this agenda-driven media messaging to get straight to the American people. And the American people have said, I think I'll listen to it.
I think that's very true, and you may be referring to a Washington Post article that said something like the impeachment, the effort to impeach Trump begins now, words to that effect. I don't have the exact headline in front of me, but that article appeared on the Washington Post website at about 12:15 on January 20th, 2017. President Trump literally was delivering his inaugural address. He'd not even stepped away from the podium where he'd been sworn in and said, "So help me God," and taken the oath of office. 15 minutes into his administration, while he's delivering the inaugural address, the Washington Post is explaining how the left was planning on impeaching him. I mean, astonishing. He didn't have an opportunity to do anything terrible or do anything good. He hadn't done anything. He was just giving a bloody speech. And I said, "Oh, impeach him. Time to impeach him." That's amazing. And as you say, they spent the better part of his first term impeaching him once and then impeaching him again shortly after he left. And I think that the 4 years where President Trump spent in the wilderness, if you will, he and his team have spent a lot of time, very quietly, I don't think anybody knew about this, plotting exactly and planning exactly what they're going to do when they got back in, which is why they've been able to hit the ground running and achieve so many of their goals and keep so many of the promises they made on the campaign trail. It's just been every 2 hours. It's like, okay, he accomplished this, he achieved this, he concluded that, and this is why I think he's been successful. So successful, he's got people in who agree with him. They're not fighting him and leaking and fighting with each other. They're all moving, kind of rowing in the same direction, and tremendous momentum. Winning 312 electoral votes in the popular vote certainly helps, and also helps the Democrat Party. Has no message, no leader. They are floundering, and they're down at 27% approval, I believe, according to NBC News. And the congressional Democrats are all the way down at 21% approval. The Democrat Party, in my view, is dying right before our eyes, and I don't think that could have happened soon enough. And with any luck, come the midterm elections of 2026, it'll be killed off once and for all by the American voters and go where it belongs, which is in the Museum of Antiquities at the Smithsonian between Archie Bunker's chair and the T-Rex fossils.
We're speaking with Deroy Murdock, of course. I'm thinking about all of the lies that have been told about Donald Trump, the very necessary lies to lay a foundation for people to be introduced to Donald Trump, to make sure that anything that they knew about him was predicated with this caricature that they painted of him. He's sexist, racist, misogynist. When you look at, I'm reading an article that you have that people should check out in the Daily Signal right now. When you look at the makeup of the people who he has entrusted great responsibility to in his cabinet as his advisors, it's not flooded with old white guys. That's for sure, certain.
It's quite something. And I was responding to this article, which is on the Daily Signal, response to an article that was in Vanity Fair written by a woman named Olivia Campbell. And the headline of that article in Vanity Fair, which came out about a week ago, is Trump's new administration is anti-woman, a playbook from Nazi-era Germany. Okay, so it's like 0 to Hitler in 3 seconds. It's amazing. And she goes on and on about how, Trump is anti-woman and it's just like the policies of the Third Reich and all this. And I'm thinking to myself, does this woman own a TV set? I mean, it doesn't take a lot of deep research. You don't need to have entire cadre of people doing research worthy of the Manhattan Project to know that the top people in his administration included his chief of staff, Susie Wiles, who's a woman. She's the first woman ever to be White House chief of staff. No Democrat president has ever put a woman in that position of responsibility. Attorney General Pam Bondi, Secretary of Agriculture Brooke Rollins, Secretary of Labor Lori Chavez-Dermer, Secretaries of Education, Homeland Security, the Chief of the Small Business Administration, the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. Lee Stefanik is going to be our UN ambassador as soon as she gets confirmed. And the White House Press Secretary, Carolyn Levitt, who's fantastic. I think everybody admits that or agrees that she's very, very effective at her job. She's not only a woman, but she's also age 27, making her the youngest American ever to be in that position. And so the idea that with these very high-level cabinet members and advisors, somehow that President Trump is, a Hitler-level misogynist. You look at Hitler's high command, and other than the filmmaker Leni Riefenstahl, who was a woman, everybody around Hitler was men. I mean, all male than like a pride parade. Amazing. I mean, just more all male than a pride parade. Absolutely extraordinary. So I don't know. You can criticize President Trump on certain things or raise objections or whatever, but to say that his top team is reminiscent of the people around Adolf Hitler for the lack of women is just completely unhinged and crazy, and this woman probably should go see a shrink at the earliest possible opportunity.
So, we're speaking with Deroy Murdock right now, and I encourage you to read this article in the Daily Signal. Anytime you see that Vanity Fair article you're talking about, or you could very simply just look at the Melania Trump snub that took place in the first term, seeing a little bit more openness with the fashion industry. I think it's Oscar de la Renta often is tweeting about her. I hope I got that one right. And I'm looking at the way that they would very much so try to parrot this sexist, misogynist thing, and then any female that's associated with it, they just quickly disparage them. It almost makes me think, Deroy, that the left is actually not there to advocate for women. That there's something else there, or maybe for people of color, you might relate to that people who they want to shake their finger at when they're talking to Republicans, that maybe it's a little deeper than just the surface level of equality.
Well, that's a big part of it. I think it's, they just want to attack Trump night and day, no matter what, even if they don't have the evidence to do so. One thing they love to do is say, oh, look, Trump is a racist. He's surrounded by white people. And then he'll hold an event like he did at the White House for Black History Month, where you may remember Tiger Woods was there and Leo Terrell and a bunch of other people, that whole room full of black people. Say, well, they're not really black, they're tokens. Well, so which is it? They're no black people, or they're black people there, but they're not really black. They're never happy. There's nothing you can do, like the president said at the joint session before Congress a couple weeks ago. There's nothing you can say or do to make these people happy. They just complain and whine and moan nonstop. And the good news is the American people have figured them out. They're running away at top speed from the left-wing media, and Democrats are down in the 20s in terms of popularity and sinking, not going up. Yeah. And he's actually as popular as he's ever been in the polls, going all the way back to his first presidency.
Before we let you go, what do you think of the just disappearance of Joe Biden? The fact that we're 2 months out, it's not just that he isn't on every Sunday show or whatever. That's not too unusual for an outgoing president. But nothing? I can't recall seeing him at all since he flew away on Marine One.
About 2 weeks ago, I think he made a brief, he showed up and had dinner at a restaurant in D.C., and some people got their cell phones out and got shots of him, walking in and walking out of the restaurant. But other than that, you're right. That's the only brief glimpse of him I think any of us has seen since the inauguration. And yeah, he's totally dropped off the scene. His reputation is going even further south because now we're learning that a lot of his pardons and maybe other things were signed not by him but by an autopen. Now, if you want to use an autopen to sign, your sort of fan photographs or "Happy Birthday, Ted," and you have somebody put that in the machine, great. But when you're taking somebody, as we saw with Joe Biden, people who are locked up for violent crimes, and you give them clemency, if you really believe that, you ought to sit down and get a pen and sign that and say, yeah, we'll let this guy go, even though he, killed people or whatever. But don't just have aides come in and stick the thing into the auto pen, not knowing whether you even approve of that. Number one, and number two, we're just finding out this incredible return of the astronauts from the International Space Station yesterday. A beautiful splashdown in the Gulf of America, just off the coast of Florida. And then we're learning that these people had the opportunity to come back sometime last fall with Elon Musk bringing them back much as it did yesterday, but this would have been during the fall campaign. It would have made Musk and Trump look great and made Biden and Kamala Harris look weak. And so apparently the Biden White House said, no, don't bring him back, leave him up there. This to me is almost like a kidnapping situation, which makes yesterday's situation kind of a hostage rescue. And if Joe Biden, in fact, did that and had the opportunity to bring these people back and said, no, let's leave them up in outer space, which is a very dangerous place. And we've learned now, since apparently if you're in outer space because of zero gravity, I think for every month you're up there, you lose 1% of your bone density. So these people have lost 9% of their bone density. That is significant. And they're going to need apparently weeks or maybe even months to recover from this and have their bodies respond to gravity. Apparently it's harder for the heart to operate because it's now pumping against gravity versus pumping in outer space where there's no gravity. So that's not good for your heart. Putting these people in tremendous physical danger and dragging out their time up there from 8 days into 9 months. And if Joe Biden knew about that and had anything to do with it, I think it's the end of his reputation. He should go down in history as basically the kidnapper in chief, the hostage holder in chief. And that's all anybody should remember about the man for the rest of human history.
Well, certainly he isn't out there advocating for anything different, of course, but he wasn't really doing that when he was the president either.
Not much.
All right. Well, thank you, Deroy. We appreciate your time. We look forward to having you back next week.
All right, Annie. We'll talk soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. Deroy Murdock is the nationally syndicated columnist and Fox News contributor guest we have on each Wednesday. He is also a Project 21 ambassador. You should check out Project 21, a great organization there. Quick break. When we come back, Jim Talent is on the show with us. We have, I can't remember if once we talked to him last time, the last time we talked to him, they were at, the Ritz-Carlton in Saudi Arabia, and we're like, ooh, peace would be great. And then we went to a break, and they're like, okay, you could have peace. And then Marco Rubio came out with a statement saying Zelensky and Rubio and the partners there in that Saudi Arabia meeting, they have an accord, they have an agreement. Now we have to go to Putin. Well, yesterday we reported on, a 90-minute phone call between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin. We got the report that went well. And today, Donald Trump has had a conversation with Zelensky following up on that Putin phone call yesterday. Who better to talk about it next than Jim Talent to get us the latest? We'll be right back.
Brighter than the sun.
This is The Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Better than anything I've ever had, 'cause you're so damn beautiful. Read it. It's signed and delivered. Let's seal it. Boy, we go together like peanuts and paydays, Molly and reggae, and everybody needs to get a chance to say,
Stewart's American Mortgage, you want to make sure that Stewie is there to guide you through your mortgage process and understand that while he is doing that, he has your very best expectations involved. You are going to be in the best possible situation with Stewie because he's got the bagel loan. Nobody else out there has the bagel loan. It's Stewie's. You can Google the bagel loan to find out more information. 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. When you reach out to Stewie, you can talk to him about how you can get zero closing costs on your mortgage. When you're going through the process, you get low rates. Whatever low rates are out there, I've heard that they've come down quite a bit here in the last, 3-6 months. You're going to get those low rates with Stewie. You're not going to pay more. You're going to get a 2-week or less close if you so choose, and $0 in closing costs. Very, very smart phone call to make. 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. He's there to guide you through the process and make it as simple and understanding to you as you possibly want him to. I've done it twice as a refinance. I stand by that. 314-324-4440. Google the bagel loan. NMLS number 226715.
This is attorney Todd Nissenholtz of Kaufman Townsley. Injured by a careless driver? We work with the top doctors in St. Louis. We'll help you get the expert medical care you need and the maximum amount of money you deserve. Call 314-500-5000.
Mark Cox here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how to link to the market without the risk. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go online to retirementkey.com.
Does the state of this economy have your head spinning? Let GregHammons.com relieve one burden, health insurance. Greg Hammons at GregHammons.com specializes in under 65 health insurance plans that have zero copays and no deductibles. You choose your doctors and hospitals. These plans have nothing to do with your income and are 30 to 60% less than Obamacare. These are also available all year round to those that qualify. If you have a small business or you're paying for your own health insurance, you're uninsured, you're on COBRA, or your employment coverage is just too expensive. Call Greg at 314-794-7784. That's 314-794-7784. Or go to greghammonds.com. That's greghammonds.com. They can customize a plan chosen and managed by you, not the government.
Could you make $500,000 in retirement savings feel like $1 million? Or $1 million feel like $2 million? The key is having a comprehensive financial plan for taxes, Social Security, inflation, healthcare, income, and more. Discover how you could make money go a lot further in retirement in a 3-hour adult education class, Retirement Planning 101. Guys, it's Dave Glover from KMOX. This one-night class is taught by a fiduciary advisor from financial and tax architects with decades of financial planning experience. They're held at colleges and libraries throughout St. Louis. There's no cost. Just bring 3 canned goods for the St. Louis Crisis Nursery. If you've saved $300,000 or more for retirement, register by calling 314-350-8110. 314-350-8110. If, like me, you haven't quite had the pedal to the metal the way you should, or if you've had the pedal to the metal the entire time, either way, give us a call. We can help you out. We'll take you wherever you are. 314-350-8110. 314-350-8110 for financial and tax architect. Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Triton Exteriors. I think you have picked up by now that I am big fans of this company. I'm big fans of Tim, the owner. I just trust him. I think he does a great job at customer service. Also, I really want to push the James Hardy Smart Siding. So we just came through some really bad storms, as you know. Because of the way the Smart Siding is made, the way it's manufactured, the way it's installed, if you had James Hardy Smart Siding, you would not have had any damage to your siding. Just something to put in your equation as you make these decisions. If you did have some damage, or you're afraid you did, whether it's wind damage on your roof or hail, your regular siding, your gutters, your fences, you can't do better than reaching out to my friends. It's Triton Exteriors. Call 314-717-1159 or go online at triton-stl.com. You can absolutely trust these guys. They'll do a great job for you. 314-717-1159 for Triton Exteriors.
Just a reminder, we're giving away Collective Soul and live tickets at about 1:45, so not too far away. Today's YouTube live chat poll is, do you believe President Biden's signature was used without his knowledge and approval, yes or no? It is 126. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Fry Show.
Not only does he not believe in that, he doesn't believe in containment. He's welcoming Russia to take over. He's welcoming them to grab a big piece of Ukraine. God knows what's next. And the problem he has with this guy is nothing's compared to Hitler. Nobody compares anybody to Hitler. But the fact is that Putin is not accepting it. He did on the phone yesterday. I will not stop being an aggressor. I am the aggressor. Got it? I'm the one gobbling up a little country next door. That's what I'm doing. And I got my eyes on Belarus. Oh, by the way, I got my eyes on the Baltic states and maybe Poland. I got my eyes on that. So why would I stop here? I'm not stopping here.
Well, Chris Matthews, that foreign policy whippersnapper, saying that Donald Trump is inviting Putin to do this. I think, check my notes. President Biden was the president when all of this happened. He said, don't. Then they did. He said, minor incursion. They said, okay. If you want to talk about inviting invitations, Chris Matthews, where are your criticisms on that guy? I don't know anything about foreign policy other than what I listen to. Very, very wise people who are very educated on these issues. We go to them as quickly as we possibly can. And, of course, the situation is ever evolving. And that's why we have Jim Talent back on the show. Former United States Senator from Missouri. He's a very well-represented person, of course, across the country, but here specifically in Missouri. Senator Talent, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Annie. Good to be back.
Would love to hear your thoughts on what Chris Matthews has to say there about Donald Trump's endeavors to try to bring peace. Are the efforts that the Trump administration are participating in right now some sort of open invitation for Vladimir Putin and Russia?
No, it's the opposite, actually. It's an attempt to prevent Russia from getting even more of Ukraine and possibly getting all of it. Well, first of all, you're right in saying that Trump's history with Russia and Ukraine has been one of actually supporting Ukraine. In the first term, he armed the Ukrainians, which Obama refused to do. Obama said, oh, look, Ukraine's a much greater interest to Russia than it is to us. Trump also sanctioned the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, sanctions which Biden removed. I think Trump is right when he says the war wouldn't have happened if he'd been president. So, I'll paraphrase Churchill. In war, you sometimes have to take into account the battlefield. So it's not in our interest to finance indefinitely a stalemate of battlefield, and much less a battlefield where the Ukrainians are losing. It's not in their interest either, because one of two things is likely to happen. Either they're going to continue losing, and eventually we will try and get peace, and then Putin will be in an even stronger position, or the Ukrainians will collapse, and Putin will get the whole thing, and we'll never get it from him. There is a possibility. There are people I respect who believe if we keep supporting Ukraine, we give them more aid, we work on retraining their army, maybe down the road they'll be able to reverse the situation, go on the offensive, probably not push Russia out, certainly out of Crimea, but give ourselves a better position of the battlefield. That's way down the road, and it's not very likely. That's the reality. So Trump is trying to get peace. And he's made very clear, he and Rubio and Waltz, he wants a peace that protects Ukrainian sovereignty, that permits the West, it'll be mostly Europe, to rebuild Ukraine, and that prevents a future war. And in return for that, it's also pretty clear, he's willing to let Putin keep at least some of the territory he's gained. I think Trump's going to be very flexible on territory. And he's willing to give Putin other sweeteners, like lifting American sanctions that have been imposed for reasons unrelated to this. Other details we don't know. But if he's going to get an agreement, he has to talk to both parties. And he talked to Zelensky. Now he's talked to Putin. And the only other thing I'll add, Annie, is it's not going to be easy, and it never was. I proposed this, by the way, 2 years ago. I wrote a column saying it's not in our interest to continue financing a stalemate of battlefield. And I was and am a big supporter of Ukraine. But it was always going to be difficult to get Putin to the table, because especially now that he's winning, that's going to be the struggle. So we'll see what Trump does now. And I don't want to filibuster you in response to one question. I will say that let's look to see what sanctions or what pressure Trump puts on Putin now. Yeah. He's already allowed the waiver on Russian sale of oil to Europe to expire. That's a big deal. And he said, look, we can go after the banks. Now, we've sanctioned about 80% of the Russian banks, but they're good at getting around the sanctions. If we went whole hog and included secondary sanctions, okay, so in other words, we're reaching out to anybody who does business with the Russian banks, that would hurt Putin badly. So we're in the middle of a process that I think is not only the right thing, I think it's the inevitable thing if you care about the right result or the best result we can get in Eastern Europe. And let's see what Trump is able to achieve.
Yeah. I think that his willingness to do difficult things that may look politically unpopular is what makes this a possibility that he could reach peace right now. Senator Talent, I think it's also a healthy exercise, at least for someone like me, to learn what would happen if America just didn't participate the way Trump was going, didn't try to bring Vladimir Putin to the table, didn't try to talk to Zelensky about what he's going to need to do to the concessions he's going to need. What is the alternative to the Donald Trump peace talks? Like, how far does that go?
Well, you see, you put your finger on it. Again, you have to take into account what's happening on the battlefield in a war. We gave the Ukrainians a chance to push Russia out of the territory they had occupied. We helped them start an offensive in the summer of 2023. It culminated in October of that year, and it failed. The truth of the matter is neither side has been able to do maneuver warfare, Annie. That's agile warfare, where you're able to concentrate all the elements of your force on the enemy's vulnerability. It can move quickly. You can get breakthroughs. They can't do it. So they've been fighting the alternative, which is attrition warfare. You wear the enemy down over time. In a battle like that, Russia has the advantage. They have more men. They have more materiel. And that's before they bring in the North Koreans. They've just reduced the Kursk salient. Remember when Ukraine actually invaded a part of Russia and took some of it in Kursk province? The Russians have now eliminated that, or all but eliminated it. They're gradually forcing the Ukrainians back, which I hate. But, it's like World War I with drones. That's what we're seeing in Ukraine. Ugh. So I don't think there is an alternative, and I'm concerned that if we wait and the situation gets worse, it's going to be even harder to get a decent deal. You know what the alternative is? Here's the alternative. The alternative is to tell Putin that if he doesn't come to a deal and give him the bottom line, that we're going to use American air power in support of the Ukrainians. Eisenhower got a deal in Korea when he told the North Koreans, if you don't come to a settlement, I'm going to use nuclear weapons. Now, I don't know anybody who wants a direct confrontation between American forces and Russian forces, including the people who are the most hawkish right now and criticizing Trump from that perspective.
Yeah.
They say we should give them a formal security guarantee. Well, first of all, we couldn't get Ukraine into NATO before the war. That requires unanimity. The Europeans weren't going to do it. All these Europeans who say now they want to support Ukraine. And the second thing is, if you believe that we should give Ukraine a formal security guarantee against future invasions, then why aren't you suggesting that we fight for them now during this invasion? But I just think the people, and look, I'm open-minded to anything. I mean, all I care about, basically is American interests. I hate to sound bloodless because there have been over 1 million casualties, wounded and dead. It's terrible, this war.
Yeah.
But I'm interested in my country and our interests, and I don't think it's in our interest to continue this war if we can get a peace that achieves what Trump wants to achieve for Ukraine. And it's not going to be easy. Putin is not a fool. But let's see what pressure Trump can use. I mean, he's offered carrots. He's already applied one stick. He's got others. Let's see what happens.
So, we've heard Donald Trump saying in the campaign, and then, of course, still as the president, if he were the president, this never would have happened. You've said that you agree that if he were the president, it wouldn't have happened. He has to play the hand he's dealt now. He can't go back and undo what has been done. No. Certainly, lives have been lost on both sides, almost immeasurable. Do you believe, what is it about Donald Trump being the president when this minor incursion becomes a full-blown war? What is it about Donald Trump being president then that disallows this from getting to the point where it is right now?
You mean that would have prevented it?
Yeah.
Because I think of course we don't, that's counterfactual history, so we don't know for certain. Mm-hmm. But what we do know is that after the disasters of Biden's first year, what he did in the first year was he rolled over a nuclear arms treaty called the New START Treaty. He rolled it over. It was advantageous to Russia without conditions, so he gave the Russians that. He lifted the sanctions on the Nord Stream pipeline without conditions. He gave the Russians that. He gave Putin a summit without conditions. And then we had the disastrous Afghanistan withdrawal. Now, do you think it's likely that communicated a message to Putin about the resolve and competency of American leadership?
Certainly. And
that might have led him to believe he could just go in and take Ukraine and we wouldn't do anything? And contrast that with Trump's leadership over 4 years. I just think, we don't know for certain, but I think it's very plausible that if they'd begun massing troops, Trump, who did not want a war in Eastern Europe, would have let Russia know, I'm not going to tolerate this. So now he's got a difficult situation. As you say, he's entering it midstream, if you will. Mm-hmm. Now, there have been advantages to this. I strongly supported the Ukrainian aid, and I still do. It has degraded the power of the Russian state. And since they made themselves an adversary to the United States in the Middle East and in the Far East, they have this treaty of unlimited friendship with Xi Jinping. I thought it was very much in our interest to do that. We have Finland and Sweden in NATO now. And the Finns in particular are very capable. That was a huge strategic setback for Putin and Russia. So our interests have been vindicated. And now what we need is an honorable peace. We're not going to be able to give them a formal NATO guarantee. Putin would never have agreed to that. And we couldn't have done it anyway. I mean, again, they've been wanting to get into NATO for 10 or 12 years. They can't. So Trump is trying to walk a line. And based on his success in the past, look, I think one of the things that bothers people is that Trump will say nice things about dictators.
Yeah.
Okay. That's his style. He offers carrots, and then he does sticks. He's offered Hamas deals. He's offered the Palestinians deals. He's offered Iran a nuclear deal. And look what he's doing to the Houthis now. And look what he's threatening to do to Iran. And it's called diplomacy. I mean, as I look at his first term and what he's done so far, I'm not going to second guess him. I'll judge him by results. But I'm not going to give him tactical advice. I think he knows what he's doing.
He seems to me to be unfazed by political pressure to make sure that he's handling the messaging on everything. Like, that seemed like the only priority of the Biden administration was like, how is this going to play politically? Whereas he's doing what he's doing. Marco Rubio and Waltz are just going forward. They have a distinct, understood goal and plan, and they know that they're going to have to do things that can be made politically disadvantageous, in the press or whatever, and they just don't seem like they care.
Well, two things. First of all, no truer words have ever been spoken than that Donald Trump doesn't care about elite establishment opinion. I completely agree with you about that. And the second thing, the countries are always better off when their leaders, the people who run their foreign policy, want to have an idea of what the country's interests are clear about wanting to advance it, and act with purpose and competency over time. Then other countries know who they're dealing with, what your objectives are, and you can work things out. I mean, look at Trump's Middle Eastern policy. Look at the Abraham Accords. I mean, I don't want to hijack and go into a whole different region of the world, but I mean, it's been outstanding, and in some cases, just brilliant. I mean, it really has. And so this is a tough nut. It would be for anybody. But he, as always, Trump is uber confident that he can achieve it. I hear people complain about the phone call from yesterday. I haven't heard anything that Trump gave Putin. What did he give him? A phone call.
Yeah, the time.
He gave him the time, and he's not, and he said this himself. I mean, I think if anything, he's too transparent sometimes about his tactics and his motives. But he said himself, he's a mediator here. He's not a party to it. And if you're a mediator, you can't constantly be attacking one party or the other unless they've done something where it shows that they're just trying to undermine the process the way Zelensky did. So again, I will say this too, I fully expected, and I've been saying this in interviews, that Putin was not going to accept a ceasefire without conditions. I mean, why should he? He's going to come back and try and get concessions before he even gets to the table, which is classic negotiation strategy. And I cannot believe Donald Trump didn't anticipate it. If you understand anything about negotiations, you could have predicted that.
Yeah. Well, there's always more to talk about, and your time with us, we're so grateful for it. We look forward to having you back. Last week, after we were discussing the Saudi Arabia, Marco Rubio, Ritz-Carlton thing, we went to a break, and then we heard from Marco Rubio that they had achieved an agreement, and that was right after you said, let's pray for peace. And I thought, well, let's get Jim Talent back on here because you seem to have a way with timing. So we're grateful for your time again here on our show with us.
Well, you're welcome, Annie. I enjoyed it. Thank you.
Come back again. We appreciate you. Senator Jim Talent, former congressman, former United States Senator from Missouri, chairman of the Reagan Institute's National Leadership Council. I don't know what it is about the way he talks about these things, but I feel better.
It's interesting to hear a guy who clearly knows what he's talking about say of Donald Trump, that guy knows what he's talking about.
Mm-hmm. And has, like, the right style.
Yeah.
And the cojones.
Yes. And Senator Jim Talent and President Donald Trump's styles are very different.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And to hear them come to the same conclusions and say, yeah, but results are results.
One of my
it's neat.
All-time favorite stories from the Donald Trump, I guess it would have been the first term. I think it was Mike Pompeo who said this, and I think that it was North Korea or maybe China. It doesn't really matter that specific detail, but it might have been the Middle East. I don't know. But they said that they were negotiating. It might have been like Iran or the Middle East, whatever. They were negotiating with these people and saying, like, you're going to do this, you're going to do this, you're going to do this, or we're going to wipe you off the map, essentially. And they said they always had John Bolton, like, in the room, but he wasn't allowed to speak. Because people were, like, so aware that he was this, like, war hawk. He'd, like, I was just waiting for someone to bomb. And Trump could be like, see that guy? And they're like, fine, what do you want? And I just think from a negotiating standpoint, I mean, that type of stuff literally happens. You have somebody in the room. It's like if in a movie that you're watching, you bring your muscle. You don't have to be the muscle, but you better have some muscle.
Yeah.
In order to say, I have people. I have connections, I have abilities, and they're here in this room.
That's why you had Kelly Chase on the team.
There you go. Same
thing, right?
Kelly Chase, John Bolton. Wonder if Kelly Chase listens to this show.
It's a weird comparison, but accurate.
You could be very, very flattered and very, very offended at the same time with that comparison. I just want Kelly to understand that if he's upset, it should be with you.
Sure, and write in, and we can talk about it on the show or on my weekend show or whatever.
Or just show up and settle it with Ryan man to man.
No, don't worry about that.
Just do what John Bolton would do. Bomb Ryan. Anywho, YouTube live chat poll. Do you believe President Biden's signature was used without his knowledge and approval? Yes or no? Got to hear what you think on this. We've got 231 votes on it so far. Of course, the autopen conversation is one that is in the news headlines right now. There's one thing about, okay, autopen doesn't automatically negate the legality of any of those documents, but what if he didn't know that he was signing the things that his signature were being put on? Do you think that was the case? You can let us know on the Antifry YouTube live chat poll. We'll be right back. Don't go.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Guess who that is? That is Collective Soul, and we're going to just give away tickets right now. So if you want to go see Collective Soul and live on July 17th at Hollywood Casino Amphitheater, call right now, 314-241-9797. Number again is 314-241-9797. And if you are the 9th caller, you will get a pair of tickets to see Collective Soul with Live.
Teach me how to speak, teach me how to share, teach me where to go, tell me where love be there. Will love be there?
AirComfortService.com. It is beautiful outside. A little windy. You could blow away today. Don't. Just hold on tight. If you are making sure that your HVAC system is working well in the springtime, which we're very close to, isn't that wonderful? You want to make sure that the HVAC system in your home is cooling the way it's supposed to. That's how you get to your comfort zone. It's nice to be thinking about your comfort zone being a cooled one in your home as the weather gets warmer. But also with springtime comes gross, dander, allergens all over the place. Did you know that at Air Comfort Service, you can get a whole home air purifier? It can help eliminate those allergy symptoms within your home, pet dander, bacteria, viruses, odors, all of that. If you have air quality concerns in your home, Air Comfort Service, they have a solution for you. Call them and talk to them about a spring air purifier. 314-513-0091 is the number to call. Let them know that Annie sent you and let them know you're looking for that air purifier, maybe a maintenance plan to make sure everything is good in working order. Avoid those costly repairs because you have it checked up on. It's the grown-up thing to do. You just got to give them a call. 314-513-0091 online at aircomfortservice.com.
Are you tired of feeling sick and tired? I'm Dr. Nick Barnes of Health From Within Family Chiropractic. Our simple 5-step approach aligns your health naturally. We correct spinal abnormalities to maximize nerve supply, focus on pure and simple nutrition, exercise and oxygen, mindset, and minimizing toxins in your body. Transform your health today with Health from Within, conveniently located on Manchester in Rock Hill or online at healthfromwithinstl.com.
When's the last time you gave your home's exterior a little love? Hi, it's Kim, and if your siding is cracking, it's fading, or just doesn't stand up to our St. Louis weather, it's time to call Lakeside Renovation and Design because they're experts in James Hardy siding, which is this durable, low-maintenance option, and it looks beautiful. Plus, you have customizable colors and textures, and so you can give your home a completely new look while protecting it for decades. Don't wait until the small problems turn into big ones. Visit lakesidearty.com to schedule your free consultation.
If you've tried and failed every ED treatment, there's another fix that could work for you. It's same-day surgery, it's minimally invasive, and is performed by South County Urological physicians. Hundreds of men have come to us for this outpatient procedure that has a satisfaction rate over 90%. Interested? Call South County Urological, 314-843-8000. We have the fix when pills and devices no longer work. 314-843-8000 or southcountyurological.com.
There's nothing like it. The crack of the bat, the roar of the crowd, and the timeless voice of Cardinals baseball.
A swing, and there's a high fly ball. That's hit to deep left field. It might go. It's a goner.
Now, you can experience every pitch, every play, every win in crystal clear FM sound.
Big fly, Alec Burleson.
Starting March 24th, tune in to 104.1 FM KMOX, the voice of the Cardinals, now stronger than ever.
Surprise!
Surprise!
You know, surprise parties, they can be fun, right? Well, financial surprises, not so much, especially when you're retired, like finding out you owe more in taxes than you thought you would, or having to go back to work to make ends meet. Maybe you think you'll be okay, but why not double check just to be sure? Call Marvin Mitchell at Compass Retirement Solutions and schedule a retirement double check. Marvin and his team have been helping families plan for retirement for more than 15 years. Call 314-373-1598 to schedule your retirement double check with Marvin Mitchell at Compass Retirement Solutions. That's 314-373-1598. Don't let a financial surprise derail your retirement dreams. Give Marvin and the team a call, 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services, investments, and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and in Illinois.
Need a lawyer? Onder wins. Call Onder Law at 314-9-MILLION. That's 314-9-all-zeros. Or go to onderwins.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Prices are going up in 2025 on HVAC equipment. Save now with 2024 pricing on a new system today. For details, visit aircomfortservice.com/new.
Collective Soul and Live are coming to St. Louis at the Hollywood Casino Amphitheater. If you want to win free tickets, listen to the Annie Fry Show all this week. We're giving away a pair of tickets every day. July 17th, Collective Soul and Live.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Do we know who won?
Not sure there was a game today.
Oh.
No, looking forward to the March Madness.
Shush, Ethan's doing his job.
Tim from Marthasville.
Marthasville?
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations, Tim. A+ work on the music selection today.
So.
Totally on purpose.
Sure, we'll go with that.
Yeah. Collective Soul's playing. We're like, ooh, we should give away the tickets right now.
Was that an accident? Did you do that on purpose?
It was totally an accident.
He said
Did you really?
Totally an accident.
He said in here, he's like, I didn't even play that song on purpose.
That's incredible.
Didn't even know.
That's
And then I was
great
like,
timing.
Why are they rolling this for so long? I was like, Oh, wait. Isn't this who we're giving away tickets for right now, Matthew?
What a happy accident.
Yeah, it
That's
was.
funny.
Exactly.
We appreciate it. Thank you. You guys are doing great.
Good job. Tomorrow, play live or anything that is live from any
like,
band.
No, just be live. He'll
Or,
come
yeah.
in and play live music.
Come in and play Lightning Crashes live on his own.
But just for bump music.
Yeah.
Do you know a lot about Collective Soul and live? Either or?
Yeah, I know a decent amount.
But music is definitely childhood for me.
Yeah.
Formative years.
Collective Soul.
Early to mid 90s.
Collective Soul's really good. They actually have songs. I mean, they have deep cut album tracks that are really good that nobody really listens to now, unless you were listening to them then. But they're a solid band.
I want to play this clip for you. I don't know if you've heard this yet. Big Alec Baldwin fans in the room here. Yay.
Oh yeah,
Huge.
Yeah. Michael Winslow would go because that's the way the crowd sounds.
Every time you say that, I just think of Family Matters.
Family Oh,
Yeah, the Winslow family.
that's right.
Yeah, not the bleeps, the creeps, and the sweeps guy.
Right.
But anywho, so did you see this clip yet with Alec Baldwin and his wife on a red car? I'm so glad. I bet Brad, you can't have avoided it because it's everywhere.
Yeah.
But what other media is in the stream? Oh gosh, hold on. Jim Talon's just hanging out there. Okay, now we got it. They're at Planet Hollywood. There's this party last night. I saw several pictures of this big Planet Hollywood opening somewhere. Extra was covering it, and celebrities are there. Yay, rah! What?
This is Planet Hollywood is the restaurant?
Yeah.
I didn't know that still exists. I thought it was long
Or
bankrupt.
that they had deep pockets to get the likes of Hilaria Baldwin, also known as Hillary Baldwin from like Boston. But anyway, listen to this. Hilaria is being asked a question. Alec Baldwin is right behind her. They're married. They've been married for a long time. They have 47 kids.
The Ilaria show.
No. I think we're gonna see. We're gonna see how it feels to have it be out there.
It's gonna be great. You're a winner.
Oh my God! When I'm talking, you're not talking.
Sorry.
No, when I'm talking, you're not talking. This is why. Yes, we'll have to just cut him out of the show. No. I mean, I think this is a really raw show, and it's very real, and we took a lot of chances. And, I think that we'll see where it leads us. We'll see what it feels like to have be out there, and then we'll see, if people like it.
Oh, man. You can't see, if you can see the video, if you're watching it online.
You'd never seen this
I've
before.
never seen that.
Walk us through it.
They're interviewing her, and he's just kind of saying stuff in the background that's supportive. There's nothing wrong with anything he's saying. But she silences him, and that is where I start watching him. He is not happy.
Would you have been happy?
I don't think so. I don't know. I mean, no, I don't know that I would have been.
Does your wife
I probably
ever
would have
talk like that in
realized.
front of you?
No, not really. Yeah, she might give me a look like, hey, give me a second.
Oh, you're saying there's a chance.
Well, we're talkers, so actually she is too. But I'll start interjecting sometimes if I'm really excited about a topic that she's talking about. And once in a while, I'll get a look like, hey, let me say something. Oh, yeah. And so I'll just back off. But that's the extent of it.
In a microphone on a red carpet,
No.
get a hand in your face that says, you're done.
No, she went all in, and he was not happy.
You wonder how often I'm like, there's just a 10% part of me that wants to know, what's the extent, how much baggage is around this one individual circumstance. But I felt like she chose violence in that, and when she went down that path and did what she did, she was like, if we get divorced after this, that's okay.
Yeah, it looked pretty bad.
If she chose this and knew what she was doing, she's done.
Man. Most of the time, these celebrity things, they make TMZ, and they make so much out of it that's not really there.
He slow pans and looks into the camera
wow.
and is like, do you see what I have to deal with?
Uh-huh.
And then he just kind of shuffles away. He's like, fine, do it on your own.
Takes about 5 seconds before
Do you have compassion for Alec Baldwin in this situation?
I would say yeah.
Brad?
I hate saying yeah, but yeah. I wouldn't like being talked to like that in that situation.
She's very hand literally in his face. She's like, you don't talk, I'm talking. it is her moment, so I can see how. But I mean, that's not stuff you work out in the red carpet.
No.
In front of a camera.
If that's your moment too, then you also don't do that because
It's
you
so-
just lost it.
It's so funny
You
that
lost
right
the
now
moment.
your camera has gone completely out of focus.
Whoa, is this deliberate?
And it's like,
what are you guys doing to
that's
me?
enough of you,
I
Ryan.
thought this was my moment.
You just be quiet. Nobody wants
Yeah.
to. You just
Nobody-
not. You have to
nobody wants
talk
to
and blur
focus on
now.
you.
Yeah. Ryan, why don't you take us out here? This is your chance to shine vocally.
What am I supposed to do? Sing this song?
No,
take us
just
out, dude.
Take us out of the segment. You've
Okay.
got 6 seconds.
All right. You are listening to the Annie Fry Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
To have a roof over your head, a nice roof over your head, is very important.
That's Rick talking about his experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago, and they were very cooperative on getting us the right paint. They were in and out and done in no time. Once it was finished, looked great. We were very happy with it.
The main reason Rick called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by a 25-year transferable warranty.
We've watched a lot of people get their house painted 3 or 4 times, and we haven't had to do any of it. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to have to paint it every 5-7 years.
Take a tip from Rick and put down the paintbrush and call Rhino Shield for your free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago. Financially makes sense, especially if it's going to last like this did. Still looks great.
Call now. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
From the Fed, I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. Even as the central bank lowers its projections for economic growth this year, in part because of uncertainty about the impacts of Trump tariffs.
Unemployment's 4.1%. Job creation most recently has been at a healthy level. Inflation has started to move up now, we think partly in response to tariffs, and there may be a delay in further progress over the course of this year. So that's the hard data. Overall, it's a solid picture.
Fed Chair Jerome Powell also says they believe Fed policy is in the right place to be able to react to whatever comes. It's the second meeting in a row without a rate cut. The Fed still expects to cut rates twice this year. The White House pushing back on judges blocking parts of the president's agenda.
We have judges who are acting as partisan activists from the bench. They are trying to dictate policy from the President of the United States.
Spokeswoman Caroline Levitt, as a federal judge, defends his order against use of a wartime law for deportations and says he's trying to determine whether his orders were flouted. The White House says technical teams will head to Saudi Arabia soon to work on broadening a limited ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine after President Trump spoke with Ukraine's president today following yesterday's call with Russia's leader. The U.S. State Department says there's still a proposal on the table to extend a ceasefire in Gaza, even as the Israeli military resumes attacks on Hamas targets. Health officials in Gaza have said airstrikes killed hundreds of people yesterday.
And it's a horrible result of more decisions by Hamas that continue the suffering.
State Department spokeswoman Tammy Bruce says Hamas rejected a bridge offer to move on to phase 2 of a ceasefire in place since January. Israel's defense minister calling for the release of all remaining hostages and for Hamas to be expelled from Gaza. The Vatican just announcing Pope Francis no longer needs mechanical help to breathe. He remains hospitalized. America's listening to Fox News.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
West Virginia's governor could soon ban certain foods.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Wind advisory until 7 o'clock tonight. Some of these wind gusts pushing 50 miles per hour. There could be a couple of showers from time to time. Also a rumble of thunder, 74 for the high. Tonight, a couple of showers mixing with some wet snow after midnight. It's colder, 35, stays windy. Nothing more than a dusting of snow. Cool on Thursday, sunny and 51. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Why do the national tax resolution firms need the tiny fine print at the bottom of all their TV ads? Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. You don't hear fast-talking disclaimers in our ads because the claims we make are 100% transparent. The Lance Story Law Firm primarily focuses on one thing, IRS problems, and we're regulated by the Bar Association, and we have a AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau. IRS issues are serious legal issues. The Lance Story Law Firm has helped thousands of clients navigate the best resolution plans, and we tell you up front exactly how much it'll cost. Tax resolution law is all we do. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Land Story Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Call today to schedule your free consultation with me, 314-260-6120, or visit Lance, DRURYlaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Hi, everyone. Brian Kilmeade here with a great announcement, especially everybody here at KFTK. St. Louis, I'm coming to you. March 22nd at the factory on stage. You're going to love this unscripted affair. It's going to be patriotic, inspirational, motivational. I'll go through all my books, give you the anecdotes inside Fox. We'll go over the news, the war on history, and the comeback of this guy, Donald Trump. Mark Reard's going to join me on stage. Maybe some surprises in the lineup. But most of all, I want to see you. BrianKilmeade.com. Click on tickets. March 22nd at the factory.
Men, are you just not feeling it? Could be your testosterone. U.S. Men's Medical Center in St. Peter's helps men experiencing loss of energy, focus, concentration, and low libido. Check out the testimonials at usmensmedicalcenter.com. Patients are excited about feeling great, having energy, improved libido. Plus, they love the staff and the fact that they accept all insurance, including Medicare. Spring's coming. Enjoy it. Call U.S. Men's Medical Center at 636-244-5333. USMen'sMedicalCenter.com. Who has the most 5-star reviews in St. Louis? Is the Post-Dispatch Window Retailer of the Year, J.D. Power Award winner 5 years in a row, and has the nation's best warranty coverage? Renewal by Anderson. That's who. Find out about our huge 31-day sale at RBASTL.com or call 314-332-1924. RBASTL.com or 314-332-1924. Renewal by Anderson. A better way to a better window. O'Reilly Veriscan is a free check engine light testing program that pulls from over 600 million vehicle scans confirmed by ASE certified technicians to provide a simple report and possible fixes. Available exclusively at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Let's show our appreciation for local heroes. Mark Cox here. Nominate a first responder and their department could get lunch from Grill Master Tony's. I'll personally deliver it. Share their story at 971talk.com. Nominate them today.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
I think it's this notion of toxicity in masculinity needs to be separated. And I think it's been conflated. And I think we're going to have to work on that a little bit. And I think there is a crisis.
I think some of us scare them.
Men.
I think I scare them a little bit why they spend so much time on it. No, I'm serious because I can fix a truck. They know I'm not on this. Yeah. I'm not putting this in people's grill. I don't know if my identity is not hunting. My identity is not football coaching. My identity is not, a beard and a truck.
But I think this notion of
First of all, whatever we bleep there, what did it start with?
Bull.
because I almost played the video. And I didn't remember it having. I'm like, oh, it doesn't have the video on here, and the video is everywhere. Maybe there's a reason. Good job, Brad. Annie, way to trust Brad's intuition there. So Tim Walz, picture perfect masculinity. It's funny to me that it's almost like the way that he's explaining his masculinity requires you to be in touch with your feminine side to seek. Ryan.
Yes.
I like how you're like, yes. Yes.
Yes. Who is it?
Did you see the Tyrus Gutfeld explanation of the Charlie Kirk, Gavin Newsom podcast?
Yes,
where
I did.
Tyrus was talking about the hand movements.
I did.
It's not for radio, mostly because it's all visual. But here you have Gavin Newsom and Tim Walz. Why is Tim Walz all of a sudden another thing? Why are they like, let's push him out there and see what he can do this time around?
Well, because he lost because his running mate was so bad, but he himself was a terrific candidate.
How come they kept him inside for the last month of the 2-month campaign?
It was a bad campaign. It was just bad campaign advisement because he's now out there being the spokesperson for masculinity, which I've always said they should have done from day one.
Yeah, the toxically masculine Trump movement that was elevated by young men, increasing in all races, support for Donald Trump. I don't think that anyone is accusing the Trump administration of struggling in the testosterone department.
No, but when you compare and contrast.
Oh, I love it when you do use his
when
voice.
you compare Donald Trump and J.D. Vance and anybody, Pete Hegseth, for instance, up against Tim Walz, naturally everybody just understands Tim Walz is more masculine because he wears flannel and he holds pigs.
But only in campaign commercials.
But that's all we need to know.
No, that's all that matters. Here's more from Tim Walz. He's handling the loss very well. He is grounded. He understands his value, who he is, where his value comes from. He feels good about himself.
Saying on my phone, I don't know, some of you know this on the iPhone, they've got that little stock app. I added Tesla to it to give me a little boost during the day. 225 and dropping. So.
What's Tim Walz's stock worth?
I don't know. I'm interested to know why he cares about Tesla so much because this guy is a truck guy.
And if you own one, we're not blaming you. You can take dental floss and pull the Tesla thing off, and take out, just telling you.
What a boob.
So he's suggesting you floss off the Tesla logo if you own a Tesla?
Floss off. I think that's Russian.
Dmitry Flossov.
It's a Russian asset.
He's a Russian asset. He's colluding with the Russians.
They have no shame in their loserness. They don't know that they're losering even harder.
No, I'm not really sure that they... It's funny because you have certain individuals out there like Tim Walz, but there are a few others who are realizing there's a power vacuum right now, and they're stepping into it, and they're yelling, me!
Yeah, it's all Dumb and Dumber, so you're saying there's a chance.
But everybody who's looking to them is going, not you. No, I don't think it's you.
He's like, we lost male voters. I'm the most masculine. Pick me.
He's definitely playing the masculine angle on everything that he's doing.
That's not even what his side wants. Who's he talking to?
I don't know.
Your side wants men dressed as women in bathrooms with young girls, see Deerfield, Illinois, and you're like, I'm Tim Allen, ruff, ruff, ruff. I don't understand it. Don't act like you're the man. Many of your voters don't even act like that's what they're interested in. Like, your people don't want masculinity. They want masculinity to sit quietly in the corner and keep their mouths shut. And you've done that to them so long that in November they came out and they're like, we vote for loud men that are unafraid to speak. Who's the loudest one we got? Trump? I'll take him.
They played masculinity during the campaign because they realized they had a deficit. And then they lost. And then Tim Walz is like, that's still my thing, though, right, guys? And everybody's like, no, nobody cares about what you're doing.
He's like the aw shucks guy who's like, someone's like, you need to say the F word. He's like, I don't think I can do it. And then he uses it, but grammatically incorrectly, which is impossible to do with the F word.
Yeah, you can pretty much use that however you want.
It's like applicable in most situations, unfortunately. The anger, the swearing, the hostility. I understand being on the losing side of the November election and being very emotionally upset about it. And I understand people who believe the antithesis of what I believe about what would make America great, or if America could even ever factually be great or ever was great. I understand that if you're on the complete other side of that coin, that this would be difficult. Because I remember in 2020 watching Joe Biden with the Democrat House and a Democrat Senate. And I go back and roll the tape. I don't have this kind of time in my life because I don't care that much. But I know I said on the air, folks, we are about to find out what the Democrats want to get done. Because if they want to get it done, it's going to get done right now. And now the converse of that is the Republican opportunity for Donald Trump to go in there 2 months in, the amount of waves he's been able to create because he has a fearlessness about him. The most beautiful, perfect part about all of this is that the Democrats made him. They Frankensteined him together with their hatred for this country. And I'm talking about the Democratic Party, the leadership, the people who despise what America is. The most offensive thing you could say is make America great again. Because that implies, one, that America was great, and two, that where we have been isn't so great, and putting it in a position to succeed once again is the ultimate goal. They want an American failure because they think America's a failure, and I can't quite understand what those people get out of that mentality. I think that maybe through Doge, you're going to uncover some things that show that maybe there's a lot more money in it for the swampers in a globalist, that have the globalistic mentality and pursuit. Maybe there's more money in that for them. Could these people be that selfish to so boldly put themselves out there to enrich themselves at the degradation of the country? Like, it just seems to me that there's a piece of this puzzle that is missing that I don't understand, because Tim Walz, what do you have to offer other than reminding us that on this here app on your Apple iPhone can show you what those stocks do? Yeah, we know. We understand. Apple is working with the Trump administration to build products here even more, to invest here, to grow here. The people who are making the things in this country right now, the people who are innovating, the people who are growing the American dream, in large part are on Donald Trump's side. There's something about what he's doing that they agree with and that they are working with. What does Tim Walz have to offer? What is he offering anybody other than Donald Trump beat him in the election, but he could beat him in the WWE ring? Isn't that stuff rigged anyway?
Yeah. I have no idea. I really don't know what the message is, and that's why there's such a vacuum right now, and so many people trying to step in and say, "I've got it," because the first person who does actually find whatever that message is, they will get famous, they will get rich, they will have a career in front of them.
Yeah.
But nobody's done it yet, and there's a lot of people trying. Gavin Newsom's another one. He's doing that podcast. He's trying really hard to reinvent himself. I think it was Kilmeade, maybe on the show, who said Gavin Newsom is trying so hard to reinvent himself, but he's currently the governor of the biggest state in the union, and he could just do it by governing differently. Instead, he starts a podcast.
I don't see any message that comes from the Democrats who hate Donald Trump. Listen, the Donald Trump way of fighting and winning, and honestly losing, is very loud. It's very forward-facing. It's a public situation. Donald Trump has called people out, made fun of people, called people names, done all of these things. And he did it because Republicans were losing for so long, trying to be, so puckered the whole time that they couldn't actually be taken seriously by Americans because they couldn't relate to him. People could relate to Donald Trump. I heard somebody, I wish I could remember who it was, They were saying, it was in the last 24 hours, I heard him saying, Donald Trump doesn't talk like he's rich. And I thought, initially I was like, well, what does that mean? What does it mean to talk rich? Donald Trump talks in a way, relates to people in a way that we understand. We know, you can listen to Donald Trump and you could imagine being in a conversation with him. Chuck Schumer is bopping around in front of every camera he can find himself in, and all his messages, I'm a good leader. Like, if that's what you're going on these shows to say, you're in big trouble, dude. If you're not talking about what the Democrats have to offer people, if you're going on all of these media hits to lobby support for you to remain leader, you're in big trouble. I don't know that they'll be able to oust him as the leader, but if they don't trust him and he's not willing to get rid of control, it sounds to me like McConnell a couple years ago, the Democrats are in huge trouble. Nancy Pelosi is criticizing Chuck Schumer, saying he goes, she said something like, I don't give anything away for free. So essentially she's saying, okay, you want to vote in favor of ending the filibuster on this? What did you get for it? And she says he doesn't have anything to show for it. Hakeem Jeffries is being hypercritical of Chuck Schumer. They're literally looking to AOC as a possible leader of the party because she's leading in a poll with 10%. She's the only one who came across in double digits.
Oh my gosh.
It's an absolute dumpster fire on the left. And I've said this before, iron sharpens iron. If the left doesn't have their act together, the Republicans are going to be in a position to get complacent, to atrophy on their willingness to push and to advocate for the American people that sent them into the offices with which they hold. And in a midterm that's coming up, if you haven't really stopped to think about this, what can Republicans do with the second half of Donald Trump's second term? If they grow their majority in the House, which is totally a possibility, they could grow their majority in the Senate. Think about what we could do to fully restore this country. As I said yesterday with Will Chamberlain, I feel as though we're in a constitutional renaissance. We are going back to the basics, and we are taking it as far and wide as we possibly can. Fearlessly through this administration that isn't stalled in any way, shape, or form by a media that asks a dumb question that takes the issue off the beaten path. They're not afraid. They're in full control. And it's very, very frightening to the people on the left because those people, they know it. They see it. They know he has no inhibitions. He knows exactly, what's the word, Corinne? They're clear-eyed on where they're going with this Trump administration. And they've got all of the research already done to do it. They're terrified. And they can't collectively come together with a message. They are in a generational struggle. They got the old farts and the young whippersnappers, of which nobody in the middle is really stepping forward to try to bring them together. If they find that person that can lead them, that can bring them together to tell both sides to knock it off and to rally behind a point that resonates with the American people, they could be a formidable opponent. The second that the Democrats realize that their complete and total fight against Donald Trump and his success is a repudiation of what the American people voted for, when they figured out that they need to learn how to advocate for the American people in their way, then we're going to be in some sort of competitive situation. Until then, I don't know that it exists. Tim Walz, he's like the biggest mistake of the whole thing in November to me. Brought absolutely nothing to the table. They tried to fabricate this entire caricature around him of something he entirely wasn't, and they really tried to appropriate onto J.D. Vance, who Tim Walz really was, and it took like a week, and everyone's like, I don't think that's right.
Yeah, he's got 1 foot in each aisle on the Democrat side, and yet nobody. You'd think, oh, he's trying to appease to everybody, but he doesn't appease anybody because he's on the one side. You have the extreme Democrats; these are the loudest people. This is the activist class, the donor class, who are pure opposition. They don't care what Donald Trump's doing; they're just against it.
The money is there no matter what.
And the money's there, although through the NGOs it's going to be drying up, so they're worried about that too. So they're trying to figure out how to be the opposition party, but they're opposing things that are like 80-20 issues, and they're losing on all of them. And on the other hand, Tim Walz has his other foot on that other aisle that's the more centrist aisle. It's the Schumer aisle right now that they're trying to work maybe a little bit, not with Republicans, but just try to be sensible. And that's where voters might be more, but the loudest voices aren't there. So they're just toast. And if they work with Donald Trump at all, then they're ceding ground to Donald Trump. They are between a rock and a hard place. They don't know which way to go.
And the only way they're going to find their way is to take Donald Trump out of the equation.
He is the kryptonite.
Yes. That's a good way of putting it. All right, quick break. When we come back, we're going to hit up this poll here. We haven't talked about this from our opinion yet. Do you believe President Biden's signature was used without his knowledge and approval? If you heard our interview with Attorney General Andrew Bailey, which you can find on our podcast, he said that if that did happen, that's forgery. Well, that's a big deal. That's a huge problem. Think about the things that would have been forged. Well, let's discuss that when we come back, get the results at the end of the show. Do you believe President Biden's signature was used without his knowledge and approval? YouTube.com/@AnnieFry. Go vote in the poll. We'll be right back.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X @AnnieFryShow.
Pest Control, it's point with an E. When you call 636-798-0023 in Missouri and Illinois alike, you're going to find the people who have kept my house bug-free for well over a year and a half. I am a quarterly service plan customer. It is the best dollars that I spend. If you mention my name when you call Point Pest Control for your spider problem, that was mine. Just immediately. Help, help, help. They have 8 legs. They need to be gone, dead. Bye. 636-798-0023. Your problem might be ants, especially as we see it's in the 70s. It's been in the 80s this week. We're looking at potential records. Ants are creeping into our homes, and once they settle in, they are very difficult to get rid of. Just call Point Pest Control and get it done that way, because you're going to be able to rely on that to be a permanent solution. Anything comes back up, they're going to come back out and treat once again to make sure that your house is bug-free. It's Point Pest Control, point with an E, 636-798-0023. The nicest people in the business. Like I said, throughout the listening area, Point Pest Control is there to help you make sure your home is pest-free. They have certainly done that for mine. You can find them online at pointpestcontrol.com.
Mark Cox here. Get into the college basketball spirit this March by going to the Range St. Louis West. They have their basketball bonus promo all month long. 3 different baskets set up. You have a chance to get big discounts on firearms, suppressors, optics, and more, or win a free private lesson, a discounted membership, or gift cards. Play basketball and get a bonus when you score. Everybody gets 1 shot a day. Members get 2 shots. 14803 Manchester Road in Baldwin, TheRangeSTL.com.
Tomorrow, some of us will wake up and it will be our last day on this earth. It will be unexpected and without warning. Each year, 250,000 people will die from medical malpractice, the 3rd leading cause of death in America. 43,000 will die in a car or truck crash. 6,000 will die working on the job. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan, and we represent many of these families. It's awful. Unfortunately, many times, some of these family members are not speaking and never get to say, I'm sorry or goodbye. If you're at odds with a loved one, listen closely. Pick up the phone. Call them. Say you're sorry. I promise a huge burden will be lifted from your heart and your soul will be renewed. Even if you're not wrong in your own mind, it doesn't matter. Death is bad enough. Death without closure and love will follow you the rest of your days. Trust me on this. Morgan & Morgan, Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Guys, it's time to take charge of your health with my friends at Victory Men's Health. Mark Cox here. I already love what they do at Victory. They do hormone optimization, sexual health, weight loss, even vitamin deficiencies. Now they're offering specialty cardiovascular testing and even early detection cancer screening. Visit them at one of their 4 great locations, now in Sunset Hills, Town and Country, O'Fallon, Missouri, and O'Fallon, Illinois. Tell them Mark Cox sent you. Go to victorymenshealth.com.
There's nothing like it. The crack of the bat, the roar of the crowd, and the timeless voice of Cardinals baseball.
A swing, and there's a high fly ball. That's into deep left field. It might go. It's a gunner.
Now, you can experience every pitch, every play, every win in crystal clear FM sound.
Big fly, Alec Burleson.
Starting March 24th, tune in to 104.1 FM KMOX, the voice of the Cardinals, now stronger than ever.
Attention St. Louis Medicaid residents in need of care at home. If you need assistance with daily activities, you can receive in-home care from a loved one that lives with you and they get paid. Through Medicaid with no cost to you, Freedom Care allows you to choose who provides your care at home in St. Louis and they get paid instantly. This is 100% free to you. Call now to check your eligibility. It can be your daughter, son, a close relative, or trusted friend helping you with cooking, transportation, laundry, and other activities in your own home. You get the help you need and your caregiver gets paid instantly. Freedom Care has over 7,000 5-star Google reviews and is a leading choice in St. Louis for in-home care. If you have Medicaid and want great care from a loved one that's free to you through Medicaid, go to freedomcare.com or call 314-597-1749, 314-597-1749, 314-597-1749.
At Odyssey, we believe in creating a diverse and inclusive workforce. We also value the power of community and encourage local organizations to help us in referring qualified applicants to our stations. If you're a community organization interested in receiving our vacancy information, simply email equalemployment@odyssey.com. You'll be notified of all our open positions. That's equalemployment@odyssey.com. And for all our listeners, please visit odysseyinc.com/careers for a list of job openings at all Odyssey radio stations.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is proud to support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Sign your veteran up for the Honor Flight today at gsLHonorFlight.org. And for HVAC services, visit aircomfortservice.com.
97.1 and thousands of music options, plus millions of podcasts are all on the free Odyssey app. Download the app or tell your smart speaker to play 97.1 and it comes up automatically. 97.1 FM Talk.
I know you want to say it. This is the rhythm of the night.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Saxophone is so hot. Is this saxophone? This sounds like keyboard saxophone.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I've said before, we have way too little saxophone in our lives. And I think you didn't agree.
Yeah, I still don't agree. Whenever I hear a saxophone, I feel dirty.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You repressed man.
No, I'm not repressed at all, but the saxophone does something. It's something that I feel like shouldn't be public. And I'm like, uh-oh.
Stop! What?
Yeah. And it's
I don't know what, since you took it that way, I don't know what it says about you or me that I'm like, more saxophone, baby.
Yeah, that says a lot about you because I think my experience is the more common one. When people hear the saxophone, you can chime in on YouTube.
Is this a guy-girl thing?
No, it's just it's a person thing. Whenever you hear saxophone, everybody who ever hears saxophone and feels a little bit grimy when they do needs to log in right now and let us know.
What's
Ethan.
What's Kenny G
Matthew,
do to you, Ryan?
We need some
Bad
other
things.
What?
Bad thing, especially in pop songs and rock songs. I'm like, ooh, I don't know about Kenny G.
Do we have any associate
Kenny G
producers
just
out
kind
there?
of lulls you to sleep and then kind of like messes with your hair.
I think they're probably like, I'm not listening. I'm not listening. I'm not listening. I'm not listening.
Yeah, I don't know. The producers are just gone. There's multiple people.
Do we have any out there?
Multiple chairs out there.
I just looked my head out the door and I didn't see anybody, and they could be just around the corner
They're
hiding.
under the desk.
They're gone. No, the chairs were still rolling. Like they just ran.
Just paper falling to the ground slowly.
It's because they heard saxophone. They probably
Where
were like,
did they go,
"Oh,
Ryan?
Oh man, where did they go, my lovely?" That's that song, isn't it? No, that's the Rhythm of the Night.
That's what was just playing.
But I know.
He's
but
so flustered.
That's not the same song, is it? I don't even know. I've heard so many mashups between crappy early 90s pop songs that might be two different songs. It might be the same song.
You should take it from here. I have to take care of something.
I really have a whole lot else to say
think
about
you've said
the
a lot.
saxophone. But when it's one of the reasons I couldn't stand Bill Clinton.
He made you, what'd you say? Feel dirty?
He made me feel dirty at a
Oh
very
my
young age.
gosh.
And
You're not
I
the
was
only
like,
one.
oh no. And then everything he did in the Oval Office, I was like, well, that confirms that the saxophone is evil. I was supposed to get a laugh, but nobody's paying attention.
That's because I'm texting
Yeah,
somebody.
I can tell. Who are you texting?
You don't
Somebody
wanna know.
who plays the saxophone?
I don't even know what kind of skills this person has.
Well, ask.
Doesn't everybody have a saxophone person on speed dial? Just
I don't.
in case
no,
you're in need?
I cut those people out of my life early.
They get you in trouble.
Early. I knew going into high school.
You said, and you closed your eyes while you did it.
It's because when you're
I don't want to talk about that time in my life.
when you're in youth group, they tell you ahead of time, do not hang out with the saxophone players or people who listen to saxophones.
Could it be Satan?
And I was like, oh no. Then
Can you play that music somewhere?
everything I was experiencing then was the Holy Spirit. This is what I determined. What is he doing?
Nothing.
Oh.
Stop.
I'm getting all flush. Plus, mixing it with this song, it's like, your hips are already moving. And then the saxophone comes in, and they quit going side to side. They just go forward and back.
It's too early to break.
Yeah, it is. Come on, do something. Do something else other than just this.
What would I pot? Dark Ninja said Ryan is 100% on point.
Thank you, Dark
LOL.
Ninja. Thank you.
It's probably Matthew out there.
It might be.
Matthew's like, I'm not going in there, but I have to be heard.
Info Dude says I was going to try to get a 1-900 number,
No.
and the
It's
saxophone was
just
the
an
way music.
instrument.
It's an instrument that I'm not sure was forged in heaven. I think most music is very heavenly, but the saxophone, that's from the bowels of hell.
It's a gift. Oh my gosh. We're going to break because I can't go
Yeah,
anywhere
there's
from
nowhere
here.
else to go.
There's nothing else I can do from
And
this.
we're already playing the bump music.
I know.
So it's real convenient.
We're going to take a break and we'll talk about the YouTube live chat poll, or I might just leave. We'll see. Stick around. Myself. I'll say that to myself. I should stick
You should
around.
say.
I should come back
Yeah.
to my show.
Yeah, and do some real content.
Maybe. We'll see. You totally wrecked this segment.
Oh,
Well,
Janine says Ryan's wrong. No.
yes. Let them know on the Annie Fry YouTube channel. Come vote. And let us know how you feel about the sax. We'll be right back. Oh, wow. To pay Michael's pouring.
Sometimes you got to tune in to the live stream, not just the radio.
How do I tune out of it?
You're here. You're
I'm
stuck.
hitting the buttons and it's not going away.
You're stuck.
Man, Michael's Flooring Outlet wants you to visit one of their 3 locations here in St. Louis. If you're looking for flooring, make sure that you give them the opportunity to earn your business. That's how they view it, and that's how they have been in business for 30-plus years because they understand that they've got to work for your hard-earned dollar. You certainly did. They want to make sure that you get the quality and the value that you deserve when you're making a flooring purchase. When you want to establish a fresh new start in your home, flooring is a great way to do that. And you know that, which is why you've been shopping around, maybe looking in some of those bigger department stores. You walk through, breeze through the flooring section, kind of see what's out there. But when it comes time to make that investment in your home, you want to go to a place that is an expert at your answers that you need to your flooring questions. And that is Michael's Flooring Outlet. We've been partnered with them on 97.1 for years and years and years because they care about you. They care about what we do here, and we care about making sure that you have connection to the very best in the business. If you're looking to shop for flooring in person, of course, go to Michael's Flooring Outlet at any of their 3 locations in Darden Prairie, West County, and St. Charles County. You can also start that process online by visiting them at igotfloor.com.
It's almost time for baseball's return to St. Louis. Get ready to watch your Cardinals take the field at Busch Stadium. From home runs and fireworks to historic plays and rising stars, there's no better way to catch Cardinals baseball than with thousands of friends, old and new, in the sea of red. Grab your tickets now to join the fun in Cardinals Nation. Visit Cardinals.com for tickets and info. St. Louis Cardinals for the Lou.
There is no better way to enjoy America's favorite pastime than cheering on the Cardinals with your family at Busch Stadium. From the thrill of watching the game to the kid-friendly activities, food, and fun, the ballpark has it all. Make magical memories as you cheer together for every home run, double play, and Cards win. Your family summer tradition starts here at Busch Stadium. Grab your tickets today at Cardinals.com. St. Louis Cardinals for the Lou.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Triton Exteriors. I think you have picked up by now that I am big fans of this company. I'm big fans of Tim, the owner. I just trust him. I think he does a great job at customer service. Also, I really want to push the James Hardy Smart Siding. So we just came through some really bad storms, as you know. Because of the way the Smart Siding is made, the way it's manufactured, the way it's installed, if you had James Hardy Smart Siding, you would not have had any damage to your siding. Just something to put in your equation as you make these decisions. If you did have some damage, or you're afraid you did, whether it's wind damage on your roof or hail, your regular siding, your gutters, your fences, you can't do better than reaching out to my friends. It's Triton Exteriors. Call 314-717-1159 or go online at triton-stl.com. You can absolutely trust these guys. They'll do a great job for you. 314-717-1159 for Triton Exteriors.
Hey, Jimmy Fallon here with a quick listening tip for you. If you miss Fox Across America or any of your other Fox News favorites, do not worry. I got you covered. You can stream previously aired shows with Rewind, available exclusively on the free Odyssey app. So if you're busy work days, it doesn't mean you have to miss out on the news. Listen to your Fox shows on your time with Odyssey. To get started, just download the free Odyssey app and search for Fox News Radio. That's Odyssey, A-U-D-A-C-Y. I'm spelling it out in case you're a little slow like me.
Do you ever wonder if you've saved enough to retire? Discover how you could make your money go a lot further in retirement in a 3-hour adult education class called Retirement Planning 101. Hey guys, it's Dave Glover here. This one-night class is taught by a fiduciary advisor from Financial and Tax Architects with decades of financial planning experience, and they're held at colleges and libraries throughout St. Louis. You'll learn about reducing your taxes, maximizing your Social Security, paying for health care, and more. There's no cost. We would ask that you bring 3 canned goods that we're going to pass on to the St. Louis Crisis Nursery. So you have 2 jobs when it comes to retirement, in my humble opinion. One is saving the money, putting it away. And then the other, just as important, is how do you take it out and what do you do with it after that? Find out at Retirement Planning 101. Simply call 314-350-8110. Again, no money necessary. 314-350-8110. 350-8110.
This is attorney Todd Nissenholt of Kaufman Townsley. We've won the trust of thousands of clients who are victims of careless drivers. We have the team, the talent, and the tenacity to get you the money you deserve. Call 314-500-5000. That's 314-500-5000.
Do you like sacks is the question of the day.
It is not the question of the day.
The YouTube live chat poll is, do you believe President Biden's signature was used without his knowledge and approval?
Completely unrelated.
Unrelated. Yeah, the question of the day is not the YouTube live chat poll. I should probably make that clear. It's a yes or no question for the YouTube live chat poll. 243. This time check is sponsored
One
by.
job.
Well, it's typically a little later. We broke early in
Well,
that
we don't
segment.
do it at 2:48 all the time.
243. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Good Wednesday afternoon. A lot going on, including all of these Tesla attacks. We're going to get into that. Guess what Jimmy Kimmel said about all that? That we'll cover. Charles Lipson from the University of Chicago at 3:25. Kilmeade coming up in the 4 o'clock hour right after Sue's News. Hang in there. It all starts after Fox News at 3.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Instagram at The Annie Fry Show.
You doing okay?
No, I'm having flashbacks to late night encounters.
What?
From when I was young.
Late night encounters.
Sultry memories. I wasn't thinking about them until that last song, and then you did this on purpose.
What is your wife going to do?
She's going to say, why did you play sax? That's going to be her, because she knows. She's like, I'm like, oh, I'll put some records on. She's like, oh, should I put some Beatles on or some Careless Whisper? And I'm like, I don't know. What mood are you in? And I let her decide. But yeah, I mean, my mind starts to wander. If you have good political points, they ain't gonna happen from this side of the table in this break.
It all went south for you with Bill Clinton.
Yeah, it did.
On Arsenio
I was
Hall.
just trying to watch Arsenio and enjoy Arsenio, and then here comes Bill Clinton. I'm like, oh, politics. Oh, interesting. Oh no, saxophone.
Could Donald Trump have an Arsenio Hall saxophone Bill Clinton moment where it was just like super? That was a big deal.
Only
with
if
the Ray-Bans
it was
or whatever.
There's only one way that he could, and it would be that if he did the exact same thing as Bill Clinton did.
And found Arsenio Hall.
Found Arsenio Hall, got it onto late night TV just for one night, went out and shocked everybody by playing the saxophone with sunglasses on. And if he did it, I would have hot blood. And I'd probably have to turn it off.
You're going to need to stop. Does Trump have any skills that are odd? I mean, he plays golf. That's a hobby that he has, and he's apparently good at it. But is there anything about, this is kind of a funny question because it really depends on present company, but is there anything about Donald Trump that's really particularly weird?
Yeah, he has a particular set of skills. One of them is hunting down waste and abuse.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will come after you. I will find you, and I will kill you. He says to waste and abuse.
Is there anything about him that is, I mean, the Tim Walz coming onto the scene thing, he was the original guy who called J.D. Vance weird. J.D. Vance is the most normal dude in America. He's got a movie about how
it's called Normal Guy.
Average is not. How average unspecial would you say his life was as a
Yeah,
kid?
his
It was
upbringing.
poverty
Yeah.
and everything was pointing in the direction of there's going to be nothing to write home about. And he's a Marine and he goes to law school and he's like, I think he actually does have a contract for a sequel to Hillbilly Elegy. I mean, gosh, you want to talk about the American dream? You want to talk about the American opportunity? What we have presented for us in the presidency and the vice presidency is pretty amazing. But there's nothing about J.D. Vance that I think is particularly weird at all.
No, but he is one guy that it wouldn't shock me to find out that he had some unbelievable hidden talent. Now, Donald Trump, it would surprise me.
Wasn't there a thing with J.D. Vance? Like, wasn't he really big into Pokemon?
Oh, I don't know.
Isn't that part of it? I think if you Google J.D. Vance and Pokemon, that might be the meanest rumor I've ever started about it.
Yeah, I've never heard that before. But I could see him being somewhere.
It's the right age.
Just be walking past a bunch of McDonald's cups, walking up to him and doing like a quick cup stack.
Oh,
Being
yeah.
like, oh my gosh,
Like
that
super
guy's really
speedy.
good at it. Yeah.
But when I think about J.D. Vance and when I think about Donald Trump, there is a perpetual normalcy that exists around them in the lives that they lead. Flip the script to the other side of the political aisle. The thing that they put forward every time is whatever sort of I'm saying abnormality, not in a pejorative type of a way, but like the point is what is normal because I want to be outside of that. That's kind of a part of what the left has really wrapped their identity in. The word identity is something different in progressive leftist politics.
It's everything.
To the point where normalcy was supposed to be you've had your moment. Sit this one out. And so now we see, like I said, perpetually normal people of great wealth, of great poverty growing up. And their normalcy, it hasn't helped them or hindered them. They just pursued something and they were not really willing to take no for an answer. It's just interesting to me to see how when you look at J.D. Vance and that clip we played with him with Gavin Newsom, he's like, I drive a truck, but it's not my identity. I'm a football coach, but it's not my identity. I mean, it's not really, some people, that's their identity, but that's not what normal American dude is. And that's, they keep thinking of these things as caricatures that they can politically apply to themselves, which is like Kamala Harris. You're going to go into the store and you need to find Doritos. Get to the Doritos. Everybody loves Doritos. If you eat Doritos, people who love Doritos will love you and they'll vote for you. Was that the plan? Because maybe that's why it failed. Donald Trump, Tim Walz trying to do, what was it you said, wearing flannel and carrying a pig or something like that? Like, I don't see these people and go, I have to vote for that.
And the other thing is the way they speak about it too, and this is what lost the election in some ways, not entirely, but in some ways, is that the guy who may be listening right now, the guy who has the truck, who has these colors don't run on the back of it. And
You talking about Brad?
No, kind of actually.
Close.
But
a truck with the 9 line on it, I
those
think.
guys, their identity may be very much wrapped into those things, but they would never think or say, that's my identity. You've already lost them when you say that.
The word identity, like you don't
use it.
This is what I am.
Yeah.
This.
And they're, I hate to say offended because they don't really care that much, but they're sort of amused by this whole, we'll play your game thing and try to pretend like we're anywhere near that.
When you go hard into even the contemplation of identity or the existence of identity, it's very much so used politically to appropriate.
Yes.
It's not something that is true. It's something that can be manipulated, and you can be boiled down to be said identity. Like, what happens if, there are certain identities that you can have that will cancel others out. You can be black, but if you're black and conservative, you're a token. Go back to listening to Deroy Murdock's interview from earlier today. He explained that. Like, it's not actually about, on the left, it's not actually about being an activist for rights across races to be equal. It's just about when it's useful to you politically. which is racist.
Yeah. What it really comes down to ultimately is being genuine, and that really does look different per individual. Every individual being genuine looks different, and the thing about it that's very cool is that every individual also has a high BS meter for people who are not doing it, and they could figure that out. That's why they lost. Another reason they lost that campaign is because Kamala Harris. What is Kamala Harris? Like, she's not nobody knows who she is. She was moving around all over the place.
She didn't
on her
know
positions.
who she was supposed to be.
Yeah, and she was trying to find, well, what do they want me to say? What do they want me to be? Tim Walz is trying very hard to tell you about his identity all the time instead of just being who he is. If you hate Donald Trump, if you hate his policies, we know you exist. You tell us. But everybody, you've got to agree, that dude is genuinely Donald Trump.
Yeah.
He's genuinely that guy. And everybody can read that.
Uninhibited. Take it or leave it. He doesn't care. And he's not changing for anybody. I want to talk a little bit about the YouTube poll before we give you the results here. Let's listen to Carolyn Levitt from the press room talking about the autopen signatures that they have pinned on a whole bunch of documents coming out of the Biden administration.
The president was begging the question that I think a lot of journalists in this room should be asking about whether or not the former president of the United States, who I think we can all finally agree was cognitively impaired. I know it took people some time to finally admit that, but we all know that to be true, as evidenced by his disastrous debate performance against President Trump during the campaign. I digress on that. But the president was raising the point that did the president even know about these pardons? Was his legal signature used without his consent or knowledge? And that's not just the president or me raising those questions, Caitlin. According to the New York Post, there are Biden officials from the previous White House who raised those questions and wondered if the president was even consulted about his legally binding signature being signed onto documents. And so I think it's a question that everybody in this room should be looking into, because certainly that would propose perhaps criminal or illegal behavior if staff members were signing the President of the United States autograph without his consent.
Biden is on the record talking about issuing preemptive pardons to these people.
But was he aware of his signature being used on every single pardon? That's a question you should ask the Biden White House.
Is there any evidence on that he wasn't aware of it?
You're a reporter. You should find out. President.
Yeah, I think so. Sherry says on our YouTube channel right now, I also believe Biden signed things without knowing exactly what they were, sometimes because he wasn't with it and sometimes because his administration wasn't honest with him. Going back to that Speaker Johnson conversation about, was it an energy thing out of Louisiana that Speaker Johnson knew about it. And he was... President Biden was like, I didn't do that. That's not what it was. And they're like, Speaker Johnson's like, let's get the bill or whatever it was, or the order. And Biden didn't know that he had done it.
I mean, that's a great example. A.G. Bailey earlier in this show brought up one that I forgot about, that Biden's own Department of Justice wouldn't prosecute him or wouldn't bring anything against him because they said he's not really cognitively there.
Yeah.
That's his own DOJ.
Yep. Janine says he did not know a lot of what was going on, so I say yes to this one. All right, your thoughts on
100% yes to this poll.
That's so scary.
There's no doubt that people did things without his knowledge using his name.
Brad, do you believe President Biden's signature was used without his knowledge and approval?
1,000% yes.
1,001% yes. I agree with you.
1,000,000%.
Yeah, okay, we can keep going. I'll play the saxophone, get you distracted, and win. 307 votes in today's poll. 82% of you say yes, you believe President Biden's signature was used without his knowledge and approval. I mean, when you stop and think about that, that is totally wild that could be the case. All right. Hey, Cougars play tomorrow. My SIUE Cougars. Go Cougars. Beat Houston. Looking for a big upset there. Mark Reardon coming next. 97.1 FM Talk.
Mark Cox here. Join me, Annie Fry, and Mark Reardon, along with Bob and Tammy Kershaw of the Retirement Advisory Group for the next Protecting Your Retirement educational event. It's Tuesday, March 25th at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30. Here are Bob and Tammy with more.
Are you nearing retirement or already retired and worried about market volatility and losses at this stage in your life? Would you like to learn why linking to the market is much safer than owning the market?
Would you like to learn how to automatically lock in your market gains every year without having to sell? Did you also know if you are 59 and a half or older, you can roll over your company retirement plan tax-free to protect your nest egg from any future losses? You'll get all the answers and more. If you are 59 and a half or older, you can't afford to miss this event.
Protect your retirement nest egg. Join the official financial advisors of my show, Bob and Tammy Kershaw, Tuesday, March 25th at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30. Go online to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Men, are you just not feeling it? Could be your testosterone. U.S. Men's Medical Center in St. Peter's helps men experiencing loss of energy, focus, concentration, and low libido. Check out the testimonials at usmensmedicalcenter.com. Patients are excited about feeling great, having energy, improved libido. Plus, they love the staff and the fact that they accept all insurance, including Medicare. Spring's coming. Enjoy it. Call U.S. Men's Medical Center at 636-244-5333. usmensmedicalcenter.com.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. I am quite aware of the dangers being on the road. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. These families' lives will be changed in an instant. We fight for these families as if they were our own. We've become America's largest injury law firm by winning cases just like these. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Attention! Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-222.
Medicaid to cover gender-affirming surgeries. We brought inclusive LGBTQ plus curriculum into our schools so that all students now learn about the contributions of queer and trans trailblazers from Marsha P. Johnson and Harvey Milk. The State Board of Education is implementing gender-inclusive policies to ensure that our schools are welcoming and affirming. And I'm proud to say that my administration is the most diverse administration in state history.
Why is he talking so high? My voice is lower than J.B. Pritzker's.
That speech needed to end with a woo!
There's Howard Dean when you need him. I'm sure he's available. As available as I would like J.B. Pritzker to be in a few years, of course, the governor of Illinois, giving you all the reasons in the world why you might not want to send your children to a public school. He was speaking at an Equity Illinois event, so a source there as to why he might have been championing those things. And our thanks to the Morning Answer on X, station in Chicago, highlighting the obnoxious nature of Governor J.B. Pritzker. This guy does not love your children. He loves his own political needs. He loves his own political journeys that take him to more power, that he can lord himself over you, and it's gross. Well, let's talk to somebody who's constantly fighting back against it. Our friend, Illinois State Representative Blaine Willauer, back with us. Blaine, welcome back to the show. I know that you are fearless when it comes to pushing back against J.B. Pritzker. I want to talk to you about this homeschool bill, this private education bill, where the Democrats are reaching as hard as they can into the homes and the decisions of people who have said, I don't want my kid in the public education system because I don't like what the government has been doing to it. Blaine, welcome back.
Yeah. Hey, thanks, Annie. Yeah, I was just listening to that clip. I came across that yesterday as well. What a creep. I mean, what a weirdo. And they wonder why they got shellacked everywhere in the country and in every competitive place in the country. It sounds like the type of people that we want to turn our kids over to, right?
Absolutely not.
What we're seeing in Illinois is a full-on assault on private education and on homeschooling. But I will tell you what, over the last 2 weeks, they've awakened a sleeping giant in the state. There's no doubt about it. These homeschool folks, these private school folks, they're in this for a reason. They take the time, they take the money to be able to afford their kids these opportunities for a reason. They're some of the most principled and diligent people out there, and they are making their voices heard all across this state. And we're looking to probably hear this in committee bright and early tomorrow morning, and I anticipate a complete full house in the Capitol here with folks that are advocating for education freedom and for the government to get the heck out of their lives. They've ruined enough.
Yeah, amen to that. Illinois State Representative Blaine Willauer right now speaking with us. So talk to me a little bit about the logistics, the government that's going to take place here, because this is something that, you see something get posted on Facebook, you're like, well, I don't like that. And then you have to start digging into processes. It gets really in the weeds, and people unfortunately lose interest because they don't understand it. Break it down for me in a way that I can understand what people have already shown up to do as far as witness slips, how the Democrats have reacted to the, 25,000 plus witness slips that said hell no to this. Where are we at in this governmental process?
Yeah, so the opposition is 100-1 on this. I think there's nearly 30,000 people that have taken the time to voice their displeasure through the official process on here. Homeschooling and private schooling is two of the things that in the state of Illinois that we've actually done right for a long time. The government hasn't been too intrusive, but it's also the fastest growing source of education, especially post-COVID. So you know how the folks in the educational industrial complex are. Anytime that they don't have control, they're going to go all in to get it. So what they're doing is they're trying to form a mandated registry where every mother and father who decides to homeschool their kids would have to register. And we would vote on this, but we really don't know specifically what's on the form either, because we vote to mandate that the State Board of Education, who is totally untrustworthy on these things, actually create this form. Opens up the door to a lot of really, really, really terrible things. And the good thing is, we've had a really strong opposition, and the facts are getting out there on this. And I think that we're making really making some progress in the city of Chicago. Because the homeschooling is growing very, very quickly in minority communities up there too. They were hit some of the hardest by these, regressive and punishing COVID policies, and so it's growing very fast in their community. And fortunately, we've heard from some of those legislators that they're getting a lot of pushback in their communities too. So it's not just downstate red areas here that value education freedom. It's some of the urban areas that really their education system has taken more of a hit than ours downstate.
Illinois State Representative Blaine Willauer with us right now. Does the feedback from constituents, now, of course, we've seen, you said 30-something thousand witness slips that said no, and you said it was 100-1. On the feedback that people are getting. You're talking about people reaching out and speaking to their representative. I'm sure that matters if their representative is Republican or Democrat, that both people alike should be able to listen to and be communicated with. Does that feedback make a difference when you have a super majority of Democrats in the House, in the Senate? And J.B. Pritzker, the scariest thing to me is he's here championing all of these things that they've successfully put into the public education system at this event. If you start giving private education and homeschool over to the regulation and supervision, what's stopping J.B. Pritzker and the people who are like him in the state of Illinois, of which we have a supermajority, of saying, you're going to report and these schools have to meet these same standards, otherwise it's not going to fly?
When you look at the world, what do you see?
Nothing really stops it, Annie. That's what's so dangerous about this. Now, it may not say explicitly some of that stuff in this bill, but what it does say is that these homeschools and these private schools are subject basically to spot checks on curriculum. not only curriculum, but actual work of the students, writings, actual homework, things of that nature. They're subject to a spot check by either the Chicago Public School or the ROE in your region to ensure compliance. But the question is compliance with what? And who makes that decision?
Yeah.
I mean, the government school is going to make that decision. What's the recourse for these homeschool students? And anytime that you are forcing these homeschools and these private schools to be recognized by the state of Illinois, which this does, that is going to start tying them to the school code. And the school code is at the will and the whim of these crazy Democrats in the legislature, so they can mandate anything they want, and that would make this legislation would potentially make homeschools and private schools subject to anything that this legislature wants, out of control.
Representative Willhauer, I mean, how well is the Illinois state public education system doing? Maybe they're doing so well that homeschools and private schools could take note, elevate their own, the private school test scores. Maybe they need to come up to the levels of the public education system that Illinois is offering. Is that the case?
No, it's not the case at all. It's actually the opposite. All of the research indicates that homeschool students are doing, completely better on SATs, on any of the testing, on any of this stuff. 3 out of 10 kids in the state of Illinois are reading at grade level, Annie. I think that these legislators here have enough to clean up in their own government schools without trying to punish homeschools and people that are frankly doing a lot better job and doing it a lot cheaper. You're homeschooling, for a fraction of the cost of the $20,000 some dollars that they're spending on education that's going downhill rapidly.
I was going to ask you that. Do you know what
and all the nonsense that's going on in there outside of just the test scores? I mean, just this last week, we've seen what's going on in Deerfield, Illinois, where they're taking some of this woke ideology and they're forcing 13-year-old girls to change in a locker room with some guy who thinks he's a girl.
Yes.
It's ridiculous. Clean up your own mess.
Exactly. Just real quick, do you know what does Illinois pay per pupil to educate in this state? Do you have an idea of that number?
I mean, it's pushing $20,000, and if you're looking at the Chicago public schools, which are the worst and the most dangerous, it's over $30,000 there, and the results are going down. It's completely ridiculous.
Well, you and I have worked for years and years together on trying to bring some common sense back, maybe to Southern Illinois, maybe to the whole state. My friend, Greg Bishop, I think you know where I'm going to go with this, but has been talking about a possible Blaine Willhauer run for governor, and I have proof that I've been asking you to do that for a while. And I don't know is J.B. Pritzker going to run again? He can. There's no term limits. We need common sense in Springfield. We need a governor who knows where Springfield is. I know you do, and you work your tail off to make sure that the people of your district are represented, but the rest of people who feel like they don't have a voice in the state of Illinois. Blaine, you considering a run for governor?
Well, we don't know what we're doing in 2026. All I know is that we're going to be in the fight. We've been in this fight all the way along here to be a voice for the people that have been left behind in this state for too long. Political class in both parties has been terrible in this state. Governor J.B. Pritzker clearly doesn't care about Illinois, and we do need good people to step up that's actually done something for a living and knows the effects of bad policy in this state. So we'll see. We'll see on what's to come in the future, but I'm in this fight 100%.
Well, I'm behind you, Blaine Willhauer. Would love to see it, and I'll pray for you and for your family. I think the last time I said that to you, you said I'd have to talk to your wife, and that's that's both the right answer and the right political answer. So you're well on your way. We appreciate it.
Amen to that. I always appreciate you, Andy. I appreciate the job that you're doing.
Thank you so much. We're going to follow up on this homeschool thing as people need to get their witness slips in right now and make sure that they back the effort that you and the other representatives voicing common sense in Springfield. We
get up to Springfield tomorrow. Make your presence known.
There you go. Absolutely. I know a lot of people who have contacted me. I keep getting contact from folks, and they say they're going. So we're going to watch, and we're going to see what we're able to do, and we appreciate you being a voice for the reasonable people of the state of Illinois.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Take care.
With Frenzy, friendship is teachable.